watching Crumb TV.
You watching Crumb TV.
This is Prema Asset in Los Angeles, Leimert Park, and you are now watching Crumb TV.
You are watching Crumb TV.
And we're watching Crumb TV.
You are now watching Crumb TV. So subscribe.
I am the Grand Sheikess, Unity Temple number 80, More Science Temple of America, and you are watching Crumb TV.
Yo, this is that kid 179. You are now watching Crumb TV.
Crumb TV.
It's a special edition of Crumb TV. Y'all see? I'm not in front of my little virtual reality setup because we're in real reality right now. Matter of fact, I'm so fresh into the real reality. I had to come back to planet Earth, y'all. I'm so fresh back to planet Earth. Can I get a 777 if y'all can even hear me? Reporting live. Can y'all hear me on planet Earth? I'm not in virtual reality right now. Hold on. Y'all with me? Hey, look, hey. No, hold on. This is even funnier. Crumb TV. Give me a 777 if y'all see this Blue Panther poster. The Blue Panther. The new Panther. You see the name of the, you see what this episode is called? Afrofuturism 101? Or you looking at the Afrofuture? The Blue Panther. The new Panther. Tell me if you see it. Tell me if you see it. Okay. Y'all know we in here. We got a real special edition. I'm not even ready to tell y'all what's going on yet. Let me give y'all some music before we get it cracking. But before we get it cracking for real, let me tell y'all about what we got coming up. From June 16th to June 18th, we're going to have the Juneteenth Retreat. Crumb TV Network presents the Juneteenth Retreat, starring MOI, the Minister of Information. Tickets can be purchased at Crumb TV info/events. And for vendor and sponsor information, contact Crumb TV ads at gmail.com. It's just that simple. In the meantime, can you let them know that there's nowhere to go because you're still in Morocco? That part. Yeah. We right here. We ain't going nowhere. Yeah. We still in Morocco, and we still ain't found the chosen prophet or apostle. And we still see rappers die every day like Pop Smoke. They gon' do you like P&B Rock at Roscoe's. Ain't take off, the chain don't take off. We still got shot though. Gotta bite my tongue on this one. Wanna say a lot though. For real, I wanna say a lot though. Yeah. We still in Morocco. Yeah. But we still on the block though, and we still getting chased by the cops though, and we still gotta slide on the ops, bro. Cause when you live fast, you gon' die slow. What I live for, I'ma die for. When you live fast, you gon' die slow. I just hope I die in Morocco. Yeah. We still in Morocco, and we still screaming free El Chapo. Still need a plug like Pablo. Got a guy that's look like a model. She mulatto. Same thing that I live for, it's what I die for. It's survival. Still gang cause it's tribal. You can never leave the streets behind you. With so many ops and rivals, I sleep with it with my eyes closed. Locked up where the time go. Back out, now you grind slow. Money funny, we ain't laughing though. Wearing guns like fashion though. The Black Miles, Black Capone, Crip, Jesus book, chapter 1. We still in Morocco, but we still on the block though. And we still getting chased by the cops though. And we still gotta slide on the ops, bro. When you live fast, you gon' die slow. What I live for, I'ma die for. When you live fast, you gon' die slow. I just hope I die in Morocco. Yeah. In the empire of Morocco seized the devil and bound him for 1,000 years, throwing him into the bottomless pit forever and never. Amen. We still in Morocco, but we still on the block though. And we still getting chased by the cops though. And we still gotta slide on the ops, bro. When you live fast, you gon' die slow. What I live for, I'ma die for. When you live fast, you gon' die slow. I just hope I die in Morocco. Yeah. Amen. All right, you know how we do it. Shout out to Crumb TV. You know how they do the perfect trifecta. I used to do the first 4 to the door, but now I do the first to show up, go up. Who was the first to show up? The
Verbal Underground. Peace. I like that. You sound like you spitting some bars or something. What type of name? Okay. Monique in the house. Crumb TV. Peace of the Empress. Yes. Oh, my brother. Peace and light. Chris Smith. Always on deck. We got the Pharaoh in here. Pharaoh Israel. Yes, sir. Peace and love ism. That's right. Buffalo Soldier. Oh, the way you spelt that though. Oh, Soldier. Yeah. He ain't playing. The student master. You know, I was calling you master student all this time. Not even reading it right. 777 to the guy. Yeah, y'all see it? The Blue Panther. I'm premiered to y'all here. The Blue Panther is coming this summer. Y'all not ready. That's what gives me inspiration as I'm sitting here in my spaceship floating through the universe. Now, as y'all see on the title, Afrofuturism 101. Yes. And as y'all see me sitting here, it's because I'm not doing my usual thing where, you know, I sit up there and holler at you and all that. Today, I'm getting talked to. I'm actually getting interviewed by, let me not say it right, Dai'Quiriya Martinez for information on her PhD for a dissertation on anthropology and social change. And she's like us, y'all. She's not just one of these, you know, believe it all book guys. She said, I gotta come to the source. If we're talking about the Afrofuturism, well, we're not gonna go to the Afrofuturist. Who are the people that's creating the future? Who are the people that the Afros listen to and talk to what's hot? So she came to see. And, you know, I don't think she's disappointed because as she was on her way here, I put together something myself about what this Afrofuturism thing is. And I wanted to give y'all a little taste of the boy who they try to sit it on Sun Ra. No matter of fact, no, before I even do that, I'm about to play a little video for him.
The late and great Elaine Locke said there is nothing more galvanizing than a cultural past. In my opinion, there's nothing more galvanizing than using a cultural past to create a cultural future. Welcome to today's edition of Black Study Snacks. We are going to be focusing in on Afrofuturism. What is it as a concept? How might you have already engaged with it? And how can we use it moving forward to create an amazing future for the Black community? My name is Devon Travell, and this is Black Study Snacks. We give you bite-sized knowledge for hungry, melanated minds.
Black magic, black ones, mathematics. Black funds, black's classic, black's fun, we get blacker in the sun.
All right, so as usual, you know, we want to start off with the basics. All right, we're going to start off with what is Afrofuturism. And while in my opinion and a lot of opinion of Black history and Black studies professionals, the term or the concept of Afrofuturism dates back to probably 1920 when we talk about the Harlem Renaissance and the New Negro movement, but it was officially coined in 1993 by Mark Deary. And he is a social critic and an intellectual critic, and he brought together a group of amazing Afrofuturists to do this panel. This panel was called Black to the Future. It had Samuel Delaney, it had Greg Tate, it had Trisha Rose on it, and in that they talked about their own experience as an artist and a contributor to Afrofuturism, but also on this new term and this new genre as a whole. So, definition, right? And this is the dictionary definition. Afrofuturism is a cultural aesthetic, philosophy of science, and philosophy of history that explores the developing intersection of African diaspora culture with technology. Right? So that is the really textbook answer. Now, in my opinion, and in a lot of opinion of a lot of more modern Afrofuturists, that definition is missing a key piece. What do you think that key piece is? All right, I'll take a nice little pause, see if y'all got it. Go ahead and put it in the comments or in the discussion below. What do you think is missing from that definition? Now, and in my opinion, and a lot of other modern thinkers, it's missing the social justice aspect of it, right? It's missing the agency or the power shift aspect that Afrofuturism has. So Afrofuturism also creates an alternative look at the future and even history through a Afrocentric lens. It expresses a shift in the narrative power, right? So again, when we talk about the Harlem Renaissance, right, and before in the Harlem Renaissance, right, before the 1920s, during the 1800s, 1700s, the narrative power of the African American didn't belong to us. It didn't belong to them, right? It belonged to the people who had power, who could write, who could create art, who could create movies based on stereotypes and what they saw as the Negro identity. But the amazing power of the Harlem Renaissance, and why it's probably one of my favorite time periods of all time, is for the first time in a large way, the African American, our ancestors, were able to now really take ownership over what content is being created through their image and what image is being portrayed out there, right? So we get amazing painters, writers, poets, musicians, sorry, let me not make up words here, musicians, right? And other people that are now able to create what the Negro looks like, and that was the New Negro movement. In my opinion, Afrofuturism does a very similar thing. It gives you, as an artist, whether you're African American or you're an ally, it gives you the power to create an image, whether it's in the past or in the future, of a Afrocentric character who, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but who follows some of those elements of what Afrofuturism is. Okay, so that is the introduction, the very bare bone basics of what Afrofuturism is. One more time, the dictionary definition: Afrofuturism is a cultural aesthetic, philosophy of science, and philosophy of history that explores the developing intersection between the African diaspora with technology. And again, if you want to, to spruce it up a little bit, to remix it, all you would do is really add a layer of social justice and a aspect of power, an aspect of agency within using Afrofuturism in your stories. Thanks for watching.
Hold on, y'all. Can I get a 666 if y'all heard him say, define what the new Negro looks like? Did y'all hear that? Did this man just say that they're going to define the new Negro? Who's the old Negro? Who's the Negro? Afro, Negro. These seem to be terms that do not belong to people that look like us. We don't use these terms when we walk around. What's up, my Afro brother? What's up, my Negro? This is when you're dealing with people outside the circle coming in trying to define what's going on. You feel me? But with all that being said, you understand me? We're here. And yeah, go ahead, rip him away, man, because
okay.
From what I just saw, I got my own definition and things of that nature, but I'm not the head of this, so far. I mean, whatever. So, the brother said it's defining the new Negro.
Okay, so yeah, well, he said Mark Derry came up with the term Afrofuturism, and I don't know if he mentioned it in there or if the viewers saw that in there, but Mark Derry is a Caucasian person, and he came up with the term Afrofuturism, and they said they held this conference or this panel or whatever, all these people, but the thing was, a lot of these people that are probably were on that panel were academics and literary critics, professors. He said all these other people. And for me, I did not want to talk to literary critics, professors, novel writers. I want to talk to teachers and preachers, music makers, mystics, ascetics, street scholars, urban storytellers that have been engaging with this topic, which is something that has been with our culture from the very beginning. And he mentioned technology so many times, technology. And he said, what's missing from Afrofuturism, what's missing from it is a spiritual element, the urban person's element, the common person's element, the regular folks, what they think and how they've been living this for so long. So I wanted to ask you, because they have all these definitions for what Afrofuturism is, and I'm trying to redefine and look at other people's definitions. So when I do finally put this information in my research for my dissertation, I'm going to say, you know, I have different definitions for how Afrofuturism or what it is. And so I want to ask you, how do you define Afrofuturism?
Well, I know for me and my personal journey, I was still in prison when I first heard of it. I'm one of the few people who actually, as you said, when you reached out to me, like, oh, okay, you heard of it. Like, I was one of the few people who actually heard of it a while ago. And when I heard of it, it was two women, and they were in college. And just looking back, hindsight 2020, it kind of reminded me of the Black Lives Matter thing. It's the same type of feeling I got. It's the same type of kind of slimy, subversive. Okay, I'll say this.
It's okay, go ahead.
It's obviously about me. I mean, I'm young enough to be part of the, you know, quote unquote Afrofuture. It's just when I hear terms like Negro, you know, like even when I played the video where the brother just talking, when he was defining it, I did not catch that he said defining the new Negro at the end of that. So it's just like when I hear these terms that are not naturally used by our people, but they're about our people, it sounds like eugenics. It sounds like Black studies. It sounds like somebody trying to make a chart of us. You know what I'm saying? And we know from experiencing our own selves, we're not chartable type of people. You know what I mean? So when you hear a motherfucker try to chart us, you know what I'm saying? They usually use these terms, Negro, Afro, you know. So I say, I define it as an attempt to control what they fear. And what you fear is what the unknown is. So they don't know our future. I said, or let me say it like this. They don't know the future of the people who they know they stripped everything from them except the word Black. They stripped everything from them except the Afro. There's people amongst them who didn't get stripped of all that, but they're not listening to them. They're worried about those people who they stripped of everything and that was part of those conflicts against them and that they made sure they don't know who they are anymore. What are they going to do next? Who's amongst them whispering different little things? You feel what I'm saying? I look at it more like that. I look at it like, I do not look at it as happy-go-lucky. I did it first, Afrofuturism. I saw niggas in space outfits looking like they finna go play tennis, shiny and shit. It was looking cool. I was happy. I was even talking about I was a king Afrofuturist. But now I'm starting to see a little more, you know, a little infiltration type thing. You know what I mean? And I wanted to put some on the screen here for everybody watching, because she's really here to ask the opinion more. You look at the network, it's saying, I see a plethora of things y'all talk about that seem to fit into this Afrofuturistic thing, or seem to not fit into it, that might be left out, like you were saying.
Right.
And what I say that me, Crumb TV, and MOI all say is, if they didn't treat you right, they will not teach you right.
Right on.
Right?
That's for sure.
So I look at, where is it even coming from to begin with? And Mark Deary putting together this panel of quote unquote Afrofuturists when there was none. You know what I mean? What defined the people he brought to the panel? Who were they? Not saying they weren't involved in the arts and things of that nature, but I'm just saying what made them so special for his group and what made them the futurists. You know what I mean? Pick them. Yeah, so now all y'all, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, all that. Get it going through the algorithm, because we're getting real now. This is for your grandkids. This is for your children. There are things they're setting into place. We're going ahead. We can't just keep talking about 50-year-old information all day, y'all. You know what I mean? And what this preacher said to this leader and this, that. We're talking about what's going on right now. This is important. Through the schools right now, they're pushing something called Afrofuturism. And we're trying to define this. Okay? So what I say, coming from our standpoint right here on the Crumb TV network, Afrofuturism seems to be the new Pan-Africanism. Okay, I see little to no difference in the packaging and delivery of Pan-Africanism and the more recent Afrofuturism. They both use phenotype and ignorance to distract the original people of North America from their harsh reality. It is not a hidden reality, as many would claim. It is like our mother tongue, which is not hidden from us. It is strange to us. We don't recognize it. So I see Afrofuturism as something we're coming out of sleep right now.
Right.
Waking up to ourselves. We don't recognize ourselves. So they're always trying to take what they find is non-threatening, any element of us that they feel is non-threatening, that they can mix with other things they want to introduce to us. Here you go. So here comes Pan-Africanism. There was a bunch of stuff that they wanted to introduce to us in there that they threw in there with that. You know what I mean? That we didn't recognize. So Pan-Africanist ideals emerged in the late 19th century in response to European colonization and exploitation of the African continent. Pan-Africanist philosophy held that slavery and colonialism depended on and encouraged negative, unfounded categorizations of the race, culture, and values of African people. But I put the picture here, Abraham Lincoln, because that was his era when they started the Pan-Africanism.
Right.
That's also his era when he offered to send niggas on boats back to Africa and to Haiti.
Right.
He was trying to deport out the Afro element, if you will. I see this with Afrofuturism, a deporting out of certain Afro elements that they don't like. That's not part of y'all future. These shiny outfits are. This pop music is. This cyborg binaryism type talk is. Lil Nas X, that's the future for y'all. Right? So, in his era, in Abraham Lincoln's era, there was a big scare and worry and concern of what are we going to do with these niggas in these plantations that we finna let free. Right now, they've been talking about a lot about prison reform. When you think they have a big social cleansing of the minds before they let all these motherfuckers out these prisons out to spread all this information, you feel what I'm saying? Right. So each step, they always have a mental temperature check, if you will.
Right. Okay.
And well, before we put that there, let's put that there. Or if y'all did put that there already, let's put something to replace it.
So do you think what you just said about the time period when Pan-Africanism started, that was like the from Lincoln and on down to Reconstruction and all that in the 1890s, 1880s, 1890s. Right now, Africa is being recolonized, basically. Mm-hmm. And you know, and I just thought about what you just said, and it's like Afrofuturism is coming right about the same time as these changes are going on within the Black community. Okay. So do you think
you say it's being recolonized?
It's kind of like being recolonized. I know China is going over there, and all these other people are going over there all over again. And I'm thinking to myself now, what you just said about Afrofuturism being coming around at this same time period, and they're teaching Black people like, okay, don't pay attention, kind of like don't pay attention to what's going on over here. We want to cyborg you, like you were saying, shiny suits. We want to do this to you, do this and this. So do you think Afrofuturism is a created attempt, like you said, to like take our minds off of something else, or take us or send us somewhere else or something?
Yeah, because so hold on. Let me bring some of these people into the conversation. So the brother right here is talking about they sent their criminals to kind of, that's the Afro past. And that's why they got control of your type. We're going to the future. Do you have the power in you to even conceive the future, brother? Or you gonna keep talking about that? You don't even know if they did any of that stuff. You wasn't even there. How about that? Should drop a bomb on you. From cyborgs to cymoors. That's what they want to do.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That's what I want to know. What do you think about that? Do you think
okay. Yeah, so at a time where our voice, our face, us specifically, us, let's define us. Those of my phenotype, your phenotype right here in these 48 states right here. We're not talking about Hawaii and Alaska, Puerto Rico today. We're talking about these 48 connected territories right here, right? we have become the face of the medium. And we may have a lack of appreciation for the medium now because we're born into it being normal. But there was a time where you didn't have your voice or your face going straight up on the screen to the world. So they need to control and, if so, dictate what that voice and face says and does. Afrofuturism, I feel, is an attempt to dictate that from the root. From the time the baby's born. Shit, from before the baby born. The baby mama already cyborg. You know, as soon as it comes out, it's on the phone. Do you know babies can program your phone now? And mind you, they're so deeply into it, they're not articulating. You get what I'm saying? Where right. Like, they're not articulating what they're doing. That's nature to them.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? A plum and a strawberry, that's not nature to them. Enter, off, click, XYZ is nature to them. Nature is derived from the Egyptian word neter, which is God. That's God to them.
Wow.
So Afrofuturism is really about, they probably already got our babies. It's about catching us up. Is y'all old 20-something, 30-something, 40, 50-something-year-old niggas gonna get with this cyborg binary weirdo movement? Because if not, because y'all not even finna have money no more. What y'all lived and died for. We finna change that out. That's gonna be digital. And is y'all ready to get y'all cyborg binary passed on? You feel what I'm saying? Now, for y'all that's still trying to catch up to what's going on, I got a little video for y'all. Check this out about what's going on with the goddamn Afrofuturism. I mean, it's really so deep.
Afrofuturism, to me, my definition of Afrofuturism is,
at the core of it, it is about imagining Black bodies at the center of futuristic stories.
The ability to perceive and appreciate Blackness in the future.
For me, it's where it doesn't need to exist and where it's just the future.
My name is Ariel Johnson, and I'm the owner and operator of Amalgam Comics and Coffee House. I am fairly new to Afrofuturism. That's actually a term I didn't even learn about until after I'd opened the store, because folks were coming in asking for Afrofuturism titles, and I was like, what? Specifically, Storm is the reason that I ventured into comic books. She is a mutant, and her power is weather manipulation. Before Storm, I used to feel like I was watching other people's adventures, but meeting Storm made me feel like I could be a part of it. I didn't have to just be on the sidelines watching other people be great.
Representation matters. So if you don't see yourself in the media that you consume, how do you know that you have a place in the future? You look at any given sci-fi film and we're not in it. It's like, well, I guess we didn't make it. And I feel like that's ludicrous.
Space, a final frontier.
I grew up on Star Trek, so I always saw myself in the future. There was always Black and brown people in that show. They weren't always human beings, so it was really cool to see that what I call the cosmic African diaspora was a thing.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and kittens, children of all ages, welcome to another brand spanking new edition of Black Tribble.
Good shot.
Too cool to be geeks, too cute to be nerds. We are Black Tribbles. We've been rocking and rolling here in the city of Philadelphia since 2011, talking about anything and everything that's geeky from a Black perspective. In the 21st century, pop culture is geek culture. We are there. We are in the future. Our presence matters. First images that come to me when I think of Afrofuturism, I see Earth, Wind, and Fire. For some, the birth of Afrofuturism for them was just seeing Nichelle Nichols on Star Trek back in the 60s.
Yes, Afrofuturism goes back to Nichelle Nichols in Star Trek. But it's always something that Black artists have been inspired to do. One way to describe the moment we live in is, I like to think of it as a post-Octavia Butler moment. Octavia Butler was a Black writer from Southern California who wrote the kinds of stories nobody else was thinking about. She wrote a number of novels that we would definitely call science fiction. They took place in the future, they involved time travel and travel to distant worlds in space. But in her fiction, she always positioned real people of all sorts who were familiar to the world as we live in it. Real Black women like herself, real white people with real internalized, deeply entrenched racist attitudes. She told a range of stories that were so good, that so many people recognized, that there was more space on the landscape to entertain the possibility that stories like that might come along, and there was more recognition that if someone tells those stories, there's an audience for it. Afrofuturism isn't any one thing, and it isn't a goal that artists sort of, pin on their vision board and say, I'm gonna make this. But when we recognize it, it helps us put a common frame around strategies that are oriented toward Blackness and futurity, or Blackness and possibility.
It can be truly like, oh, this is set in a post-apocalyptic, futuristic world, or it could even be right now with Black people being unapologetically themselves. I think that is a very Afrofuturist concept. I mean, I think we are in the middle of a real-life Afrofuturist movement. Like, this is it.
Okay, so I hope y'all caught up on the Afrofuturistic movement. Yes, it is. I'm gonna tell y'all something. Y'all might have heard me using that word a lot lately. You might hear me using it a lot more because I'm not gonna let them win. I see what y'all doing. Y'all probably watching this shit right now in the cut, saying, yeah, this motherfucker thinks he's smart. What we got? Cool, do what y'all do. But I'm gonna go down screaming that I don't like it. It smells funny. And I'm not gonna do what my ancestors did though. I'm not gonna say I have nothing to do with it and let it just take over. I'm gonna define it. The Blue Panther. That's right. We ain't like Wakanda, cuz. Some things was left out. Some of the homies wasn't there. So we're gonna come back with the Blue Panther. Let y'all get the full shit. Okay. Wasn't no Moors in Wakanda. Wasn't no crumb type niggas in Wakanda. What's up? It damn sure wasn't no niggas like me in Wakanda. Y'all think y'all gonna get rid of me? Is that what y'all trying to do? This is some eugenic shit. Y'all think y'all gonna get rid of me? That's what this Afrofuture shit is. Well, guess what, Afrofuture motherfuckers? I'm back. I'm not leaving. I'm coming to the future. That's right. Sorry, sister. Go ahead.
Okay. No, that's okay. You're cool. So let me ask you this, because when I was first trying to get the basic research on Afrofuturism, I kept going. I kept being bombarded with these images of cyborgs and technology. But I'm looking at it on a different perspective. So I want to ask you, do you think that Afrofuturism is wrapped up more as from our perspectives as Black people, not the definition that they gave, but our own definition? Do you think it's connected or wrapped up with Black mysticism, esotericism, spirituality? Because I noticed they leave spirituality out. So do you think it's wrapped up more in that, and instead of just whole technology stuff?
I found an analogy because I had an answer. I didn't know the question beforehand, but I still had idea what I was going to talk about. So I had how I was going to look at it, whatever. But when I look at it, this is the beauty of why I think you want to talk to me. When I look at it from a world historical view of where have we seen this before? Where have we seen his story, not our story, but his story at a point like this, and he had to do something major to grab the minds of the Afro, that right? And we've seen this before. Now, I put Pan-Africanism is a product of Reconstruction. Now I'm saying Pan-Africanism, even though we're talking about Afrofuturism, because like I told you, I see it coming in the same time frame as that. Because like I said, Pan-Africanism emerged in the late 1800s. But it took, when you look at Pan-Africanists today, even if they don't call themselves that, people that fit into that whole framework of Egypt, because think about it. If you're a person that looks like me or you talking about Egypt, you're a Pan-Africanist. If you go back 100 years ago, wasn't nobody over here talking about no Egypt as if it was just second nature, some black stuff.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? When nobody talking about Ghana, West Africa, none of that, as it was second nature black. It wasn't automatically expected that you were African.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Right. So that thought process is already locked in. So I use the term Pan-Africanism because I see this as the new age that. So this, I feel like this Afrofuturism term is something that they're going to infuse a bunch of things under the guise of Afrofuturism. In 100 years from now, it won't even be called that. It'll just be the norm for us.
Right.
Okay. So the Reconstruction era of America was not only a reconstruction of war-torn areas. It was also a reconstruction of history and culture after 100 years of internal war. Now, that's the part that they don't know, because a lot of people are going to say it was right after the Civil War that lasted a few years, whatever. No, there was 100 years, whether it be an Indian War, Indian-French War, Spanish-American War, but there was 100 years of war amongst those people we call pilgrims. They had more than 13 states at this point. So it was 100 years of conflict between them before they got to the Reconstruction era. After that, there's the 100 years that we get to where we have now.
Right.
Okay, so that little gap of time right there is them reconstructing how we talk now, what they call us now. You know, Hawaii wasn't even part of this shit then. Like, everything was different then. They made money illegal. You know what I'm saying? Right. Before that, money was gold.
Right.
After Reconstruction era, I'm not trying to sit here and say, if anybody watching would say, no. I'm not saying Reconstruction is when they turned the money paper. I'm saying it was after that era. Right? When I compared it to his analogy, I said, this is similar to Roman Emperor Augustus Pax Romana after murdering Cleopatra VII. So you up on that? Remember, after he murders Cleopatra VII, all of a sudden, the history of Rome changes. He rewrites the history. All of a sudden, the history of Egypt changes. The structure of the economy and because you talked about mysticism.
Right.
I'm giving you a short. I'm gonna give you a short answer. I'm saying that's such a loaded question that I look at it as they're not even looking at it that intricate. They're looking at it as we're reconstructing this to our way in every facet. We don't want to deal with none of y'all shit. So because we don't want to deal with none of y'all shit, we're just going to rewrite your history for you. They did that with Pan-Africanism. Now we're going to rewrite we're going to pre-write. Not rewrite. We're going to, hold on, y'all. Let me get this for you. Not rewrite. We're going to pre-write your not history, but your mystery, because we don't even know what you're going to do next. So your story, my story is going to be pre-wrote for you. They are right now writing. You know what I'm saying? That's why the outfits and the clothing and the metal in the face and all the sexual bending with it, because it's part of the LGBT. So if you look back at Missy and them, right? I'm just saying, right. Missy and them kind of look like what the BET shows us now. Back when BET was showing us that, right?
Right.
Or when they were, look at this funny, because Missy and them are not Afrofuturists. There was no such thing as Afrofuturism then. They did not define themselves as that. This is just simply a black woman.
Right.
That's creative. No, she looks like what we want them to look like. So make her Afrofuturist. She's not extra feminine. It fits into the androgynous lane. Short haircut, float in the middle of space. But we know with the androgynous comes we want them to be passive, so we want them more feminine. We want an androgynous, not too feminine, too masculine because we don't want to pride the gender. We just want to right somewhere in the middle, but leaning a little towards more the woman because we want it a little more passive.
So you
throw a spaceship in there. I feel like they're designing
our future for us.
Yes,
based on their definition.
They're attempting to.
They're attempting to, based on what their definition of Afrofuturism is. Okay.
Okay, hold on. Somebody put pre-write is the science fiction. Yes.
That's for sure, definitely.
There's somebody he put also reconstruction. I guess it was in response to the Reconstruction era. I'm saying we're in a reconstruction era. And that's what that represents. The arrival of it. Okay, no. Oh, somebody said, what about the GOAT George Clinton? George Clinton didn't call himself an Afrofuturist. That's the point. And what about the GOAT George Clinton? Did he teach? What did he push? Did he push Afrofuturism? A bunch of cyborgs floating around? Because what you'll learn is what George Clinton was talking about is what was already written in the Bible. He wasn't talking about the future. He was trying to wake our asses up. When you talk about the mothership ain't going to be. Are you one of the brothers? Do you think we're going to make the mothership? It's a Noah type thing. Like somebody's going to be, I know how to make the mothership now. The mothership concept is based on something that already exists. The mothership's already up there. The UFO is supposed to be the baby ships coming. I'm not saying it's real or fake. I'm saying if you subscribe to that, you talk about what about? And what about the fact that George Clinton, nigga, do you know who George Clinton is named after? This is how they redefine the history for you. Right? George Clinton is used to make sure you never look up this George Clinton. I'm about to show him tonight. I didn't think I was gonna skip to this fast. This is way in the PowerPoint. I got the picture there. Oh, well, George Clinton, the real George Clinton, he's the 4th vice president. And he's part of this whole Reconstruction. Well, I'm gonna go even deeper. The Reconstruction era was actually designed 100 years before it. Could you believe that?
Oh, dang.
That's the American Revolution.
Oh.
So in 1774, George Washington had a congressional meeting. They had the
Congressional Congress.
The Congressional Congress, my bad. So at the meeting they had in 1774, he says that he wants to erase our identity. 100 years later, Civil War's over, they're erasing it. Remember I told you every time they come with this reconstruction, they come with it takes about 30, 40 years to enact it. You know what happens after they came with the ideal after Civil War? We're going to reconstruct y'all. We're going to make y'all Afro and Negroes and all of that. About 30, 40 years into the plan, you know they came with? Mount Rushmore. That was their way of stamping it. We won. Right? So this is what they're trying to do with this Afrofuturism. If they can get us to sit up there and say ourselves. Okay, but look, like I said, reminds me of Pax Ramona. Right? After the death of Cleopatra, after the murdering and assassination, Cleopatra VII, Marcus Antony, their children, and he exiled her daughter. We don't know what happened with her son. Yep. He reconstructed history. There was no more matriarchy. Remember, she was a woman in power. Now it was the man. There was no more her money. I actually put a picture up here of her coin. So for those of y'all who never seen her, you can watch this when you go home. Okay. So y'all never seen her, that's her right there. And don't think because you got a pointy nose that means you white. That's more that Afro centrism that they taught y'all. See all these isms and is? They taught y'all Afrocentrism to look for a nigga with a big old afro, a flat nose, and some big old lips, and go, I am the black man. So when you see a picture of a Washita, Choctaw, Chickaw looking all beautiful and shining black, majestic, you say that can't be us. We ask you big old toes. Right?
Right.
And flat-footed and walking all that stuff.
Ungraceful,
you feel what I'm saying? Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So
and no,
go ahead.
Because I got a stream. I got a Kanye moment, right?
Keep going.
These isms. When George Clinton, oh damn, that nigga got me saying when George Washington He's important though because George Clinton was at the same time as George Washington. And he's actually in 1777. That's an important year in Moorish science. That's the year that the Sultan Muhammad recognized them little pilgrims on that boat. And that word USA became official.
Right.
How you recognizing me, making me official right now? You just recognize it. I still a bunch of other shit I gotta do.
Right.
Exactly. So ain't no 1776, no whole country. No. These was just some white boys on the boat saying, we tired of Britons telling us what to do. You know why? Because the British motherfuckers that was controlling them, they wasn't white. Like they wanted you to think. They were Creole. King Yamasee, James.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
He put the J out there, so he knows it's Yamasee. But this is part of the self-destruction. See, I'm not here to say King James was a great man and he was down for us. Some of those Creoles were slave masters.
Right, of course, yes.
And they practiced eugenics.
Yep.
And they hated their dark-skinned grandparents. And they were Afrofuturists of that time. You know the future they saw for us then? Being shorter, no afros, lighter, in control of the dark niggas. That was the future they saw for us then.
Wow. Yeah. Definitely. I could see that. I could totally see that because that would be the elites that control certain African American movements and things like that.
Okay, look it. You said elites.
Yes.
So you say it's not even about the colors. This is a group of elite people that want to make sure the masses are controlled. If the masses are mostly dark, then hey, it might be a couple dark people up there saying, hey, I don't give a fuck, get their ass. As long as we up here chilling.
Yeah.
Okay. The brother Hermes, shout out to Hermes. He said it's not about races, it's about the one humanoid race. They want them all enslaved, transhumanized, etc. Cyborgs. See, I used to think, I used to be on the whole, oh, they all gay, they want us all gay. I don't even think that no more. It's not about none of that. That's all the things they use because they know that those are divisive topics.
Yes, definitely.
That would keep us at odds. And don't even bring that up. Don't even mention race. Don't even mention politics. But this is the places they go to use. So we go back to what you beginning with. You started off with, where is spirituality?
Where is the spirituality?
Exactly. They have to erase that because that puts the groundwork to discuss how we're just talking now. Spirituality always, because the root word of religion is religion, at the end of the day, whether you like religion or not, is still the re and the legion to bring you back, to link you back to something. And they learned that mistake with the Pan-Africanism and all that. So if they keep looking back, they will find the truth. If we keep them looking forward, there's nothing to look at. If we dictate what's in front of them.
Right.
So don't let them connect with the Akashic record and get all into the air and the study and the meditating. Keep their ass staring at this screen. And matter of fact, how can you get them if you don't talk their language? See, this is why that conversation we was having about the newspaper when the brother went to get the newspaper to the white sisters instead of you first.
Oh, yes.
This is why Elijah Measure said don't even sell it to them. Because this is how they learned our language. This is why they know about Afrofuturism. You know why Afrofuturism is so perfect for them? Because they already know what we were saying in the 60s and 70s and 80s. They used that language to try to manipulate us. That's why they called it trap futurism. That's what we would have called it. If it was some young niggas today, they would call it trap futurism. They wouldn't have called it Afrofuturism.
Exactly.
This is their agents who've been listening to us talk in the 60s and 70s. But what the agents didn't know is they the ones gave us that word too. That's what the agent didn't know. He thought, the agent thought when he said that was going to be fly. Afrofuturism, we go, oh, Afro, yeah.
No, that's oh man. Yeah, because I was wondering to myself when I first heard the term Afrofuturism and I found out that Mark Derry, now I don't have nothing against Mark Derry as a person, nothing like that. I'm not trying to talk about against anyone, but what I'm saying is that whenever you have someone from outside of the culture define something for you, you always have to, like you said, you have to look at that and why are they defining it for us and why are we going by that definition of what it is? And when his definition was, you know, about Black people and in the future with technology, and I was like, okay, why are you looking at Black people in the future with technology? Isn't our technology, you know, we already got built-in technology from us, you know, within us.
But that's how forget how we feel. That's our reality.
Right.
And this is where we lose ourselves. The question isn't why. it's not his reality to see that. He doesn't see it because it's not in him. And we are such a loving people, and we see that he came from us, so we assume it is.
Right.
Why you don't see what we see? This is where the messenger comes in. He said, y'all got to get that out of y'all. Y'all love for this motherfucker. Y'all Stockholm syndrome is going to be the death of y'all.
Ooh,
right?
That's so
I found George Clinton, the real one.
Okay.
It's a picture of a dude look like one of your faculty members at one of the old George Clinton from July 26, 1739 to April 20th, 1812. Before I read this, y'all, can anybody in the comments tell me who this George Clinton is? Not the Afrofuture George Clinton, the old regular past George Clinton. Y'all got 30 seconds. That's the point, no definition. Right. Look, George Clinton was an American soldier, statesman, and founding father of the United States, a prominent Democratic Republican. Y'all ain't know about the Democratic Republicans, huh? And when y'all hear us say they both the same, y'all think we sound so stupid. And y'all think y'all know so much with your fucking Google. All you fucking futurists can shut the fuck up. We're pasting today. Welcome to the past when shit made sense. When the enemy was the enemy. It wasn't no, trust the Democrat. No, trust the Republican. Y'all sound dumb as hell to us people who know what's really going on. They're Democratic Republicans.
Yep, they sure were.
Was you ready for that one? A lot of things get revealed when you study the real George Clinton. But when you got you running around thinking George Clinton is a fucking multi-rainbow colored hair drug addict floating on a goddamn fake homemade spaceship, and you're imitating that shit thinking this is the GOAT, this is our culture, this is the truth. Oh, we told you was God. We told you was great. You don't believe it. So you look to these escapes, these flying dogs and monkeys and bullshit. That's what Afrofuturism is. Clinton served as the 4th vice president of the United States from 1805 until his death in 1812. Y'all have no idea what y'all just heard. Let me read these answers. What y'all just heard was the years of a war, a very important war. It's called the War of 1812. George Washington cousin. Hey, Crumb's followers, he got some cold.
Yeah.
The Divine Family do not play.
That's why I came this way. That's why I wanted to see. That's why I said I wanted to see what regular people, everyday people, the people out there in the culture who are just experiencing and living every day, what they think Afrofuturism is and what they feel the connections are to it, to our culture.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all see that War 1812? Y'all see that 4th vice president? So, piece of Divine Family. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all gotta understand, stop overthinking everything. Let's keep everything very simple. Because sometimes I think the philosophy, la la land, the black people love that world. You get to kind of just do whatever, get high and say, whatever, it don't matter anyway, the devil. So check it out. Back here in the real world, okay? Color TV had just came out. Never before in the 60s and 50s that was a time where people stood and they sat in their house glued to boxes. That's not normal. So once they got you motherfuckers to do that crazy shit, they had to dictate what goes on the motherfucker. They don't want niggas who's going over here studying with Elijah Muhammad, all these people, all you niggas. A lot of these programs were made for y'all because the ones who just follow along with the system, they're not worried about them. They worried about you niggas who think y'all deep. They love feeding y'all lies, and I love laughing at y'all when y'all bring it to me and say, ah, and I say, get the fuck out of here. You learned that from the devil. I'm uneducated. I don't know what the devil teaches. How about that? All I know is what God teaches. I had to go to the devil to verify what the guys were teaching. Then I seen the holes in it. So, with that being said, George Clinton, let me see, break it down. When they seen us studying and break it down, before they defined this Afrofuturism thing, what was real Afrofuturism, let's say that. That's what I think I give to you.
Right.
The difference. A real, was there ever a version of this that really, yes, there was. The awakening, free, we didn't have a name for it. You feel what I'm saying? We used to say, you know, Bob Marley, Exodus,
right?
The freedom of your people. You feel what I'm saying? I think I see the mothership, come on. It's an escape from their ass. The movie Get Out. What we talk about is getting the fuck away from them motherfuckers. What they want to talk about is, no, you're talking about your future in my house. It's like a pet. Like, no, that's not what you're saying. What you're saying is this.
Right.
No, we know what the fuck we saying. So what they doing is, this is very strategic what they're doing. They is surgically removing the truth from our past with Afrofuturism. They're going into those small tidbits of truth you can find, Sun Ra, George Clinton, and all that, and redefining it before you even see it. So they can take your kid when he learns about Afrofuturism. He said, Mom, I was in class today and talking about Afrofuturism. They talking about a guy named George Clinton. They say he talked about robots and blah, blah, blah. They don't know it's about the Bible and the chariots and all that.
Right on.
Spirituality is erased now.
Okay, so talking about spirituality, now let's get on to the 5%ers. I want to ask you about them because
hold on, let me ask you this, brother.
Okay.
He said you teaching and all that, but I'm talking about him putting us in the future and album cover. He's putting us in that artificial future. How about that? Was you ready for that? What you don't know is, you think the CIA was just created 20 years ago? The CIA was around when George Clinton was around. Are you an idol worshiper, brother? Are you so obsessed with George Clinton you can't believe that he had things put into his album covers, that he was getting paid by the record label? Or was he the all God? It was George Clinton, Elijah Muhammad? Is that what you're saying? Like he was the prophetic leader or some shit? Like, bro, those images on his album cover are created and approved and sanctioned through, and okay, yeah, that fits with our frame. Yeah, sure. And guess what? Stop acting like he's some goddamn genius. I don't know what he knew or didn't know. I don't know. They might have told him to put that up there. Matter of fact, let me stop even playing. He paid a nigga to draw it. The nigga that drew it, how do you know George Clinton even knew what the fuck he was drawing? He might have just thought it was some niggas in space too. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not saying he did. I've met George Clinton before.
Hey, I love George Clinton.
I met him before. He was smoking crack.
Like I said, I love George Clinton. I love Parliament Funkadelic. But like what you just said, you know, those images for those people who are stuck on that and stuck on like, okay, spaceships and this, like you said, okay, those people are looking at it in the future of us floating away somewhere, like you said. But George Clinton, okay, let's just erase George Clinton from the mix and look at it, like you said, in the back to the Bible. You said, you know, the swing down chariot and all that. He was talking about the Bible, but like you said, if you look at it from somebody planting that there and say, okay, let's put that there so they can get their mind off that
the Bible,
off the Bible narrative, and onto some cyborg stuff. Okay, which is against
you get it
nature.
It's to take you away from
and
nature.
You said nature. What did you do?
In Egypt, that's neter. It's the word for God.
It's God. Okay,
yeah,
that's taking us away from nature.
The difference is not the personalized. It doesn't. It's not God's name. It's it's the same way we just say God and we say it means this is the. No, I'm saying the same way I'm saying it's the same exact way that we use the word God, to where it could be your God, my God.
Right.
That's how neter is used. It's the definitive term. It's not even the adjective like his name or nothing.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? Okay, now check this out. He said, someone in the divine family said, they forgot language and communication are nothing alike. We judge by spirit, not by outside sights. Language, we have that for the ones to intercommunicate with us. That's true.
Right.
So Afrofuturism doesn't even define what we are. Because, yeah, what's mainstream is mainstream because they control the flow of what's promoted in their airwaves. It's the mainstream.
Oh,
the stream of information.
The main
see
that
goes down deep. Your understanding of sciences, because in the stream of what's put out there, if you understand it to be an actual stream of information, even when you're not consciously thinking, there's information in the air, right?
Yeah.
And so if they can persuade enough people to think the lie, it projects out of their brain into enough brains to become a true thought, even if it didn't happen.
And that's the mainstream, a stream of mainstream information.
And with that being said, listen to this, what Sun Ra said. This is how you know he's not an Afrofuturist. Look at what he said right here. He doesn't even buy any of those concepts.
Oh man, this man's gonna run out on me.
That's a trip still. You know, it's not
worth it. It's not worth it at all.
All right, take it over, fellas. Yeah.
It's all right. Greetings, black youth, planet Earth. What it is. I am Sun Ra, ambassador from the intergalactic regions of the Council of Outer Space. Why are your shoes so big?
Are those moon shoes? How do we know you for real? Yeah, how do we know you ain't somebody off Telegraph Street, some old hippie or something? What are you? I mean, we don't know that. She for real?
He might have something going for him.
Yeah, we sure do. What kind of shoes is that you got on your feet? Yeah, walking around all these funny clothes. Shoot, I know, I probably take off running. I see somebody walking down the street coming, talking all that mess to me, talking about going to outer space. Yeah, I mean, yeah, what it is. That's what it is. What it is. Talking about Telegraph. We don't know what you are.
How do you know I'm real?
Yeah.
I'm not real. I'm just like you. You don't exist in this society. If you did, your people wouldn't be seeking equal rights. You're not real. If you were, you'd have some status among the nations of the world. So we're both myths. I do not come to you as a reality. I come to you as the myth, because that's what black people are, myths. I came from a dream that the black man dreamed long ago. I'm actually a present sent to you by your ancestors. I'm gonna be here till I pick out certain one of you to take back with me.
What if we won't come? You gonna make us come?
Then I'm gonna have to do you like they did you in Africa. Chain you up, take you with me. Are there any whiteys up there? They're walking there today. That's right. They take frequent trips to the moon. I notice none of you have been invited. How do you think you're gonna exist? The year 2000 is right around the corner.
What's that crystal thing in your hand?
We're living in the space age. We're living in the space age. We're living in the space age.
Do y'all think it's a coincidence that he's talking about going to the moon at the time when they were talking about going to the moon? Like, y'all give these celebrities too much credit. Y'all really think these motherfuckers are some good philanthropists, spiritualists, family-oriented, good leaders that got your best interests in mind? Because y'all idol worshipers. And that's what's going on. It has to stop. It has to stop. It has to stop. Straight up. So, enough about the idol George Clinton. Let's talk about the actual George Clinton. Not only was this during the War of 1812, he also served as the first governor of New York from 1777 to 1795. This is basically like one of the first slave masters. Now, you probably saying, why, Crip, just what you saying? Well, what makes you here governor of New York and think space slave master? Because the biggest slave plantation they had was in Brooklyn, New York. But you really think of the South, though. You're thinking, hey, nigga. That's the media. And that's the point of what the fuck we're trying to tell you. The media is used to make you think the slave master is the one that goes, hey, nigga. Did y'all know that's not the slave master? Did y'all know the average slave master did not talk like that? He was not an Appalachian Mountain hillbilly. The Appalachian Mountain hillbillies were poor. They did not own anybody. Nobody even wanted to own their ass. How about that?
That's right.
The fuck y'all talking about, man? Pick a book up or put the books down. How about that? Come out of that Crip Jesus. Stop hearing them lies. I'm not ready this month for y'all because I'm going deep. But next month, I'm going to be ready for y'all. We're going to start these classes up. I'm going to teach y'all some stuff I can't even teach on this channel because it really goes that deep. Matter of fact, let me see. If I finish George Clinton yet. When I finish George Clinton, I got something I'm going to ask y'all. Just to show y'all how deep I'm going on the website. I'm not going to say too much. But the point is, this stuff I can't talk about here. Because you know why I can't talk about here? What could there be on the internet that you can't talk about? Miss Martinez, I remember a time when you can talk about anything on the internet, huh? You could literally chop someone's head off. Remember when AOL days back in the 90s?
Old days, yeah.
You could they used to terrorists used to go on the internet and put out threats to the American government.
Yes, that's right. I do remember that. Yes. I do remember that.
Now, if you shake your booty wrong, your post might get took down.
If you say the wrong word, you know, depending on what the letter.
Come a long way.
Can't say the S word.
And I think in the midst of that control, I think they've become arrogant. Like, we want even your soul now. Afrofuturism. You know, so the governor of New York from 1777 to 1795, and again from 1801 to 1804, along with John C. Calhoun, he is one of two vice presidents to hold office under two consecutive presidents. The reason I brought him up is just like Pan-Africanism erased him, because once you're a Pan-Africanist, you just care about anything that looks like you. Afrofuturism erased more stuff like that. And you'll keep seeing things slowly disappear from your reality. Because like the brother Mansa said, niggas love information that can't be verified, can't be proven. All you need is to say it's forbidden, hidden, and they don't want you to know. Like, who told you? Wow. That's niggas for you. Okay. Oh, let me hit this last little joint to fully answer you. So, dealing with War 1812. Tecumesh. I'm saying this is why they take the spirituality concept of it out. Because in Afrofuturism, you wouldn't see Tecumesh. Now, even in Pan-Africanism, they kind of erased all the native people from us with the Pan-Africanism movement.
Right.
However, in the visual, that's how they kind of... In the visual, you would see statues. This is how we were able to connect back to ourselves a lot of Pan-African. In the Pan-Africanist era, we were very into art, right, very into the old statues. We would see feathers, different things, different outfits. But in Afrofuturism, it's none of that. They got the look. You know what I mean? There's not even a geographical area for these things. So I can say, to segue into what I got up here, have you noticed? I know in my investigation, I heard the word about 10 years ago. Since then, I've never even seen a concept of native or anything like that with an Afrofuturist.
And
even if it was, that's probably an exception.
That's why I said,
yeah, because it's like that's not part of their what they're pushing. Now, Tecumesh was a Shawnee chief and warrior who promoted resistance to the expansion of the United States onto Native American lands. This was around the time. Y'all see the years there, 1768 to 1813. He is the antagonist to George Clinton. This is why they need George Clinton's name to be flying spaceships. Yeah, we're fighting for our spirit and mind. A persuasive orator, Tecumesh traveled widely, forming a Native American confederacy. A lot of people don't know about that.
Right.
So what they don't want the brothers and sisters to know is that we had a government up here. It wasn't called a black government. It wasn't called the Indian government.
Right.
It was the government. And it was opposed to the shit they had going on. It was here already, the government. So whether you use the term Native, Moorish, black before him, however you try to describe it, it was there, it was real, and it's what Afrofuturism looks to erase for the future. It looks to make sure it's not in the future. And while it does that, it pacifies us with the concept of write your future. I want you to write your future down right now so I can see what's in your head and what you think is in that motherfucker. And as soon as you write it down, it says anything that's not a shiny suit or technique digi thing or whatever, we're going to have some people tell you, what does that have to do with it? What does that have to do with that?
They'll say that's not Afrofuturism.
Now, even though his efforts to unite Native Americans ended with his death in the War of 1812, he became an iconic folk hero in American, Indigenous, and Canadian people's history. So, we go back to, oh, this thing is out of order. That's why it's like this. Okay. So we get back to, oh, the War of 1812. Why they don't need George Clinton around. The War of 1812 was fought by the United States of America and its indigenous allies against its allies in British North America, with limited participation by Spain and Florida. This is the most important thing I could have told y'all. The great divide between us misunderstanding ourselves has a lot to do with this war, because on one side you had Spain and us.
Right.
The other side you had the Pilgrims and us or whatever.
Again, right.
And then you have the British and us. So not only do you leave this situation with three groups fighting, and now they're all mixed in on the European side, you have three groups fighting that are mixed in with different concepts of history on our side. You got this little group in the middle, the slaves, that's finna be free in about 40 years from then and don't know nothing.
Right.
Don't know none of the sides. They finna be told, say this, say that, say this, say that. And they're finna define for the other three that was fighting what their reality is. It's ridiculous.
So you think
Afrofuturism
is defining a reality?
It's an attempt by them to pre-write.
To pre-write our reality.
Not rewrite. So this is a concept I came with during the interview. Pan-Africanists were working on behalf, like George Washington and them, they rewrite the history. These ones, they pre-write.
They're pre-writing our history for us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let me ask you this, if you're ready. I was looking at the teachings of two different groups who I looked at as having some what is defined as Afrofuturism or African American esotericism, I rather call it, in a way. I was looking at the 5%ers and the Malachi Z. York's group, but I wanted to ask you about the 5%ers first. About, I guess, Clarence 13X. Okay, now, how do you think that he made a decision to say, like, okay, I'm going to create a future for this group that I'm teaching?
He didn't. So what a lot of father did was he did what we keep acting like we're going to do. He lived it out.
Okay.
He didn't read something and say, I'm going to repeat this shit 20 times, argue with everybody and say, see, I know better than you. He wasn't, because everything you do is about your intention.
Right.
Feel me? So if my intention is to, you know, make this a good interview, then it would behoove me to do things to prepare me to make it as such. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So a lot of the brothers around him, intention was to elevate their self and show everyone around them how great they were, or their kids and their family. They may not say that, they may talk that black shit, but then you get them in front of the blacks and they're competing with them about who's blacker or who knows the more black. So that's their intention.
Right.
His intention was really self-improvement, self-betterment, which included people that looked like him, people that were younger than him that were just like him, himself fully. You feel me? And what the public doesn't see is that the NOI has secret lessons.
Okay.
It's called, you know, I mean, that's what we call the 120.
Right.
And in their secret lessons, well, they're not secret anymore, but in their secret lessons, This was part of the teaching that the black man's God and his proper name is Allah, and Christianity is only really 551 years old. Buddhism is really 35,000 years old, going back to the Naga tribe. That's where I know about this stuff from. I'm not just some deep study. Oh, Crip Jesus found the Naga tribe. Whoa, no.
Right.
Crip Jesus found John Wycliffe. Whoa, no. I got all that from lessons. It doesn't say his name in lessons, but if you take the lesson and follow it,
right, and
go where it leads you, you'll get that, and maybe even more. So he followed the whole lesson, and it led him to see, like I showed in my Allah the Father episode, where I showed the clan in Pakistan named Allah. It led him to realizing this was literal. And when he went to jail, they put him in the mental institution for refusing to not call himself that. So in the midst of in relation to what you're asking about with Afrofuturism, he saw the future for himself. Instead of him just talking about it or planning, saying, I'm gonna go do this and that, and hopefully it'll be better for y'all, he lived it out.
Right.
And set an example, and they followed along. So he's a real example of what the Afrofuturists claim or hope they would have. You get what I'm saying? He did so. Put it like this. When he was walking around the city, there was no, I'm a god, I'm a king, I'm a queen, I'm a goddess, no. Damn near the whole entire black conscious community owes a thank you to this brother, because there wasn't even spoken publicly like that.
Right. Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Who
was talking like that in public? Even if you did talk like, even if you felt that way about yourself, that would probably be considered high level arrogance to say some shit like that. Yeah, right. So that wasn't going on. You feel what I'm saying? He saw that. You feel what I'm saying? He envisioned that. He envisioned those secret lessons being normalized. He envisioned, that's why I tell the brothers all the time in the nation that go against me, because my nation name is King El Allah.
Okay.
Crip Jesus is not my name, like how you probably think. Like, it wasn't like I went to join the nation, they named me Crip Jesus.
Right,
no.
Of course not.
Hell, they wouldn't put up with that.
Right.
But that's sad. Not that they didn't name it. I'm saying that if that was my decision to say, oh, this is who I am, that they would be like, no.
Right.
Because the truth is, I am the vision that Father Allah saw. When he took them lessons out, he started Xerox copying them and handing them out to the kids in the streets. It's almost like when they say, throw, when we just say, throw it at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
Right.
Crips wasn't even around yet.
No.
So he didn't see, I want a Crip to get this. I want whatever. Put it like this. Have you heard of MK Ultra?
Yes, I do. Yes,
okay. So from the response I got right now, you're aware. Matter of fact, we got the whole audience watching. 30 seconds. Do y'all know what MK Ultra is? Let me get down in the comments. Do y'all know what MK Ultra is, and to the extent of what was going on with us? I believe MK Ultra started in the 50s. Mind control. Yep. Got a couple no's, but for the most part, yes, it was a government-sponsored effort and program and attack on us of mind control. It was the CIA attacking us with mind control with quiet weapons in silent wars.
Quiet weapons.
I think that's how they try to. Now, every 50 years, the CIA has to declassify what it did. So now it's been 50 years since they did that. They have to call it silent war. It was very loud when they was doing it. They were physically assaulting people, sexually assaulting people. They were filling people up with drugs. They were tying people up. Yeah, they were doing some way crazy stuff back then. So I say that to say, at that time, the methods and the things they were using, you know, it fits into the agenda of what was going on. You feel what I'm saying? So you have brothers and sisters like, oh no, you know, this and that, but it's like, bro, that was the time of MK Ultra. You feel me? So in the time of MK Ultra, the weapons were different. Some of that stuff they were teaching us in MK Ultra time is normalized now.
Yep.
For example, drugs. Drugs were not normal then. They were used, they were around.
ADD medication.
You feel what I'm saying? But it was not like drugs. The government sold us drugs. That's really what MK Ultra. MK Ultra, if y'all could imagine, for all you Afrofuturists that probably can't even imagine this, is when the government was basically the homie on the block. So, for a more academic type answer, I see the gap there. I see Pan-Africanism and just, you know, Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey. I see that intersection in the early 1900s. Okay? There was a reason they were doing that. Because this already had happened. What I see them trying to do with the Afrofuturism, it just happened. So from George to Lincoln, 100 years of guerrilla wars. They had just erased that.
Right.
I'm kind of answering your other question. So I'm saying, why were all these leaders from that area? Because the government was actually erasing their history.
Okay.
The government was erasing Elijah Muhammad's family's history. You know what I mean? With the Dawes Rose Act and the $5 Indians and all that. And not talking about the Trails of Tears and what really went down in Georgia and what he experienced. Even, I'm going to go this deep. So, if what we teach about missing land, and that would be with Atlantis and Atlantean Island and Moon and all that, right? That would be the area. That would mean the indigenous people of Florida and Atlanta and all that would have some relation to the Atlanteans.
Right.
Do you know in the books that are considered pseudoscience that describe them, they're described as having Asiatic features, but being brown skinned and being the ancestors of the others? Right? This looks like Elijah Muhammad.
Yeah, because he, his features, my grandmother commented on him years ago when he was still alive, and she said he looked very Asian-like or Asiatic. And I noticed that about him. My grandma said, what is he, a Filipino or something?
Come on. The Gullah Wars officially began with the Soto Rebellion of 1739. It was 25 years later that George Washington told his constituents at a congressional meeting in Philadelphia their best bet to defeating the Gullah people is erasing their identity. It took his followers 100 years to erase the identity of the original people from history. According to Supreme Wisdom Lessons, it's taught by Elijah, the devil calls our people Africans to make our people of North America believe that the people on that continent are the only people they have.
Wow.
And someone commented to his Asiatic looks that he's part of what's known as the San people. The San people are some of the oldest people on the planet Earth, like Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, those clicks, those speak those click languages.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
because they're before art form.
Yes.
We speak a lower form of language.
Oh wow.
Because think about it, to understand so much from someone just going, you have to be highly intelligent.
Yeah. You ever see, it's a movie called The Gods Must Be Crazy, and they were speaking the click languages, and a friend of mine was looking at it, and they kept saying, something's wrong with your video, something's wrong with you. I said, what are you talking about? Something's wrong with your TV. I said, no, nothing's wrong with my TV. They said, it keeps making this weird noise. I said, that's them speaking their language. And they was like, what? That's a language? And they were just fascinated. From that point on, they just watched the whole entire thing, and they just couldn't believe it. And I could see Elijah Muhammad. I could see him looking like those Khoisan people, because he has the eyes, the face, the everything, the skin color, all of it. Wow. That's pretty deep.
Somebody put Gullah ain't no Asiatic. Bro, that's how I know you don't know what Asiatic is. You said Gullah ain't no Asiatic black people, they Africoid. Brother,
yeah, but
take that lightning strike fist off your thing. You don't know nothing. You think you Zeus. That's why you trying to grab lightning with your black hand. And your name is Bruh. Okay. What the fuck is an Africoid?
Afrocoid should be anybody.
No, that's more of their isms and their
An Aborigine from Australia can be an Afrocoid.
No, because here's the thing though, but it still deals with the concept of geography in Africa. Asiatic is not defined by them, so that's our word. Asiatic is a person of the world when it was one body,
when it was all one thing.
Okay, so Asiatic people is not a people of a certain direction or area.
We're talking about Japan.
It's a older people. They could be from Japan or any of that. I'm saying it's a old. It has to Asiatic deals with your how old your cells are, not the direction of geography.
Or geography where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about modern day Asia right now.
So just for y'all to catch up, well, I just broke down that they were the reason why the messengers came at that time. They were trying to teach us about the 100 years that had just been erased from us in the Gullah Wars. I'm here to teach y'all about the new 100 years that got erased from y'all. That's why I talk about gangs and stuff. That was the wars out in the streets. But the Gullah Wars against these same people, the same, like we were fighting the police officers, that's their kids. We were fighting the Gullah Wars. It begins with the Stono Rebellion, according to their books. 1739, the Stono Rebellion is the largest slave insurrection in British North America. Notice it says British North America.
Mm-hmm.
It was not even the USA yet.
Right, exactly.
So the Gullah War started before even the USA.
Before the USA existed as an entity.
Began nearby on September 9th, 1739. About 20 Africans raided a store near Wallace Creek, a branch of the Stono River, taking guns and other weapons. They killed 2 shopkeepers. The rebels marched south towards Promised Freedom in Spanish Florida, waving flags, beating drums, and shouting liberty. But they're Africans, though. Get the fuck out of here. Come on.
Okay, so back to just a little bit back to Clarence, because what made me go to Clarence X because of the fact that they call themselves gods and earths, and I felt like he was building and creating, or not creating. I shouldn't say creating. I should say recreating our knowledge of ourselves as gods and goddesses on this earth. Yeah. That's what I feel like. Not creating. Not that he created it, but he was bringing it back to us. I want to say maybe. Yeah.
Well, me being this, I'm the perfect person to talk to then, because me being a descendant of that. I've had gods get mad that I'm Crip Jesus because they're trying to define that's not the kind of God. That's not the kind of God. Jesus in our lessons, it talks about him being the brother. This, that. Well, I mean, what version? So even I talk about this in a lot of files. I talk about the names. The dude I'm under, G Body, he's originally from LA in the 60s. Okay. Now he lives in Detroit. Okay. When he first came, the guys in New York was on him. Who's this LA dude trying to define?
Right.
Because what we find along the track of this journey that we go to the future is a bunch of people who get it, got it, and want to keep it right there.
And keep it in a box.
In their box.
Right.
Right. So it's not right, correct, if it don't fit how they define it. What the God did was, what everybody else claimed they doing, I want to be gods and kings. He came out and lived it out. This is what he was taught secretly by the NOI. Mm-hmm. Within the FOI. He took their secret teachings and gave it to the children so they could live it out. He wasn't going to be alive to see it. I hope you notice everybody I named was not alive to see their plan. No. George Washington did not see the Reconstruction era. You feel me?
Right.
What's his name again? Andrew Mark. Who's the dude made Afrofuturism?
Mark Derry.
Yeah, Mark Derry ain't gonna see the cyborg binary. Well, the fastest time is moving now. I think he saw it with Lil Nas X. Mark Derry got to see his dream come alive. Okay,
but dream he wanted.
Yeah, the dream he wanted. I'm saying
Afrofuturism. They're his definition.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, they make the reality and they push it to hope to see it. You know, but I say when you see, like, when you say, well, what's this missing? What's that missing? It's what's inside you. So they only push for us to be what's inside them. You feel me?
Right, right. Okay, now let me ask you, because now I know this is a controversial person, Malachi Z. York. And like I said, let me just say this. I don't know. I was not a member of his organization, so I don't know what went down with the organization. All I know is that for this, he has so much literature out there, so many books, so much that he did. And that, like I said, he bought 400 and something acres of land in Georgia. Once again, we go back to Georgia again. He bought all these acres of land in Georgia, and he created like a nation within a nation. So do you think, because in my head, to me, I was looking at him also as Afrofuturism in our own terms and from our own perspective. Do you think that he fits in with that whole with Afrofuturism? And whatever your opinion is on him, whatever you want to say.
I get what you mean. Like, he's not an Afrofuturist. We're not gonna box him in like that.
Right.
But as far as what we're talking about, like, does he represent the future of our people? Is that a positive example?
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect example. I'm gonna tell you why. I've heard all these different things about him. Some of them I even think is true because of the people I heard it from. But in my future, I'm not able to be you're not defined by what you know what I'm saying? Like, in my future, it's not, hey, that's bad, stay away from him. Okay. Right. That doesn't happen in my future. You know what I mean? I'm living my future now. My future is what I'm gonna do tomorrow, which is what I'm playing today. Feel me? So he's example of Vini Vidi Vici?
Vini Vidi Vici, yes.
Vini Vidi Vici, you know, he saw, he came, he saw, he conquered.
Yes.
You know, and from my understanding, he didn't get loans and grants to build that. He literally just built. You know what I mean? If you understand that land, build with me with the Geechee science, you know, that land goes to Atlantis, goes to us, or goes to hooking up to travel across from the Gullah lands and all of that. So as an energy source, that would be a no-brainer. Then I also understand it as him building like independent energy mounds, you know, energy that we can live off of and create and hound and keep together ourselves.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So a short answer, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, he had the best program and all that, because I don't know. I think that we had to get off of that. I never heard of Filipino futurism. I never heard of Chinese futurism. I never heard of Mexican futurism. I never even heard of white futurism. Why do we even need an Afrofuturism? They don't have a fucking white futurism. So what I feel is, I don't have to say he's good, bad, nothing. I don't care. Afrofuturism is whatever the fuck we define it as. Like I said, I didn't even think of it this way. I just said I never heard of Mexican futurism, so it kind of hurts me that we even need it. To me, it's an attempt to make us not know ourselves even more, to confuse us even more, because now we get to arguing about who's really the future and not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do they, you know, do they have this in the future? They have that in the future? Do you get to come? Do you not? Is it almost like a desensitizing us to getting ready to get told you ain't in the future?
You're not coming along.
You're not an Afrofuture nigga.
Or we're sending you off in outer space to send you away from us.
You know, I said that as a joke, and you grabbed onto that, and I'm like, yeah.
I'm just saying.
The binary cyborg robot floating away in space. Far bye-bye.
I'm just saying, because, you know, when I go back to, now I know some of the viewers and listeners kept talking about George Clinton and the greatest of all time. Like I said, I love George Clinton. I love Parliament Funkadelic. But let me say this. Okay. He's talking, when they're looking at it as, we're going to get on this spaceship and we're going to go over here. Now, are we going over there by choice to leave the planet? Are we going over there by force to leave the planet? And why is the whole Bible thing taken out of it? Because in the Bible, we're talking about, you know, maybe going to a better place possibly. But are they teaching us Afrofuturism or pushing Afrofuturism to us from outside of us as, get the heck out of here, we want you out of here? Or we're just like, hey, we need to leave now?
Their name was George Clinton Department. They always talked about, like, psychedelics.
Yeah, psychedelic, yeah.
Psychedelic drugs.
Yeah, funkadelic, yeah.
But one at a time when the MK Ultra was getting us to do psychedelic drugs.
Yes, LSD and everything else. Yes, what's going
so are y'all motherfuckers ready to wake up and realize that George Clinton was selling y'all drugs? Y'all still in denial. I'm tired of niggas. They act like they can't see the fucking obvious. Stop idol worshiping. Yes, George Clinton was selling y'all dope for the record label. Is that hard to believe?
It's in the documentary.
It shouldn't be hard to believe. A bunch of dudes do it to y'all right now. There's a lot of rappers that sit up there and talk about drinking codeine and all that, and they know exactly what it does to you. It's not hard to believe. No, I might even make a song saying I'm doing this, that, and the other, and it may be a negative thing. I'm not being told by the government to do it. What I'm trying to tell you is, why is that so far-fetched for y'all to wrap your head around that? Stop playing.
I don't know why it's so far-fetched for us. It's been happening in our history. They keep pushing drugs into our community. So why wouldn't they use our artists to push something to us like that?
So that goes back to what I was saying. I claim that Pan-Africanism was sold to us, so our artists are pushing to us, so they can get to full control of this land, which was, and to represent that was Mount Rushmore.
That was a symbol, a strong symbol, very strong symbol.
Okay, but there's a reason I use that symbol.
Right.
There's 4 people on Mount Rushmore. George Washington. When they asked him why they put them 4 on there, he said they're the most important to American history. I said they're the most important to what we're talking about right now. They're trying to do to us what they did with Pan-Africanism, with Afrofuturism. Now, ain't enough time passed yet to know. I don't know what they Mount Rushmore are going to be. You know what I mean? I don't know. I want to say Lil Nas X. I do, because I want to say, if you understood Black culture for what it is, those of us from the 70s and 60s, we would have never fathomed that could be possible.
No, heck no. Heck no.
We wouldn't even think that the white man would let that happen.
No, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just so far gone from our reality that yeah. So I don't think when they was in the middle of the war, 1812 and all that, fighting over land, that they would have ever imagined 100 years after that, it'd be a big mountain of 4 white men's heads and people be walking by, visiting from around the world to basically worship it. Do you know what it was called at first?
No.
The 6 grandfathers.
Oh, really? Wow.
Now, I'm not talking about the 4 faces. That them mountains was called the 6 grandfathers by the original people.
Original people. Okay, I see what you're saying.
This is why they put they 4 faces on there.
Oh,
no, this is your granddaddy, nigga. Think, 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 think.
Wow, yeah, we're going.
This is what they doing with the Afrofuturism.
Yeah, we're your granddaddies now.
What they're doing with Afrofuturism, they're taking all their lies and they're etching them into us through the computer screen.
Right.
Calling it the future.
Wow.
He said he anti-pan everything. This ain't called pan. It's called Afro. Okay, so look, the first president, George Washington. If this was what George Washington said at the 1774 congressional meeting. This goes with that. Watch, check this out. If we would agree to take the fezzes and turbans off the Moors' heads and remove the sandals from their feet and enforce severe punishments, and to also swear a death oath between ourselves to religiously and faithfully not to allow anyone to teach the Moorish children who they really were and who their forefathers were, and only allow the Moorish children to be taught that they were truly Negroes, Black people, and colored folks, 200 years from today, the Moorish people would not know their nationality nor their national name.
Wow.
200-year plan. Okay.
It's in effect.
October 30. Okay, so that was in the 1700s.
Right.
October 31st, 1941. That was the broadcasting. Remember, to broadcast is to cast something broadly. It's a big witchcraft movement. So when you say or show something, or you play a song real loud, everyone gets induced into it at the same time. It was the broadcasting of Mount Rushmore. The spell.
Oh, wow.
We've seen that mountain so many times. I've never been there. I know exactly what it looks like. I know all that.
Yeah, I've never been there, but we all know
Right?
it when we see it.
October 31st, 1941. It started on October 4th, 1927.
Wow. And look at you said October 31st. I'm just saying, that might be just me.
That's for the birth of Adam, October 31st.
I'm like, that's October 31st.
That's Halloween too.
Halloween. That's what I'm saying. To me, it's like, okay, that's some symbolism right there. That's a spell in my head. In my head, that's a spell.
Mount Rushmore is a project of colossal proportion, colossal ambition, and colossal achievement. It involved the efforts of nearly 400 men and women. Yeah.
That's a massive spell to me. That it was because you carve something that huge that everybody knows, that everybody can look at, everybody can see, and it's like obviously to show power. But like I said, I feel like on October 31st, because it was done and completed at that time period, that, like I said, it seems like a spell.
Not only that, but that was to the what we call in the nation the 85%. Those are the unknowing. To the knowing, they knew what that was. It was super really a spell to them. Yeah. They're looking like, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
The 6 grandfathers who we were taught with divine have just been transformed into 4 devils right before our face.
Right before our very eyes.
The Lakota called the mountains 6 grandfathers, symbolizing ancestral deities personified as the 6 directions: north, south, east, west, above, sky, below, earth. They don't believe in that. They've been told us 4 directions. So they put forefathers.
Right. Our forefathers.
This stuff is a mistake, man. People think, oh, it had too much etymology.
Words have spells in them. We know that. Words have spells in them too. So
who's the second person on the mountain? So we just proved we went up 400 years. Watch
400
this.
years, 4 years.
So the first 100 years was erased by George Washington. He planned this. We just read it, right?
Right.
Mind you, when he joins the war against the British, and they put him as the first president, does that not erase the first 100 years of their history?
Mm-hmm.
The first 100 years of their history we do not talk about. We act like the Mayflower and all of that connects to all of that, and it doesn't. That's the British.
Right.
And they were getting whipped before that in the 1500s. But we don't talk about none of that because of George Washington. The name George Washington by itself satisfies us.
Yeah, it has a lot of power.
We don't need to know about this stuff before him.
Yeah.
He's like Jesus of our history. How you do AD and BC?
Yeah.
George Washington.
George Washington's like the New Testament.
He's the New Testament of America.
Yeah.
The second face on there, you know?
I want to say it's Lincoln.
Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, Jefferson. Okay.
Watch this.
He wrote his own Bible.
Whoa.
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson wrote
So
his own
he was
Bible.
a super futurist. We can't say Afro. No, you know what? Yes, we can.
We can. I mean,
he's an Afrofuturist. He was defining the future for us, right? Check this out. But here's what he really did. That's what he defined for us. That's what he wrote down. But what did he really experience? Why was he mad at us? Did you know everybody before him, the war really starts between the USA and people of us after him, really. I'll tell you why. What was the cause of the Barbary Wars? The Barbary Wars, a lot of people don't connect the War of 1812. They say Native American.
Right.
What if that was the land half of that Barbary War that was being fought in the water? The cause of the Barbary Wars and how did Jefferson handle the conflict? When Thomas Jefferson became president, the pirates increased the cost of the tribute, and Jefferson refused to pay. See how he just kind of threw that out there?
Yeah.
Who knew that the presidents were paying tribute to us at first?
Not very many people know that.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't like. I
know that I'm in the more science, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
so Barbary with Africa.
Yeah, I still have to remind myself all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So they were paying tribute to us. Let's count this as the second 100 years.
Okay.
This is the 1700s. This starts with the Yamasee War, 1715. Whooped their ass when they tried to come over here, and then because they had a treaty with us. Why in the Yamasee War are we dark skinned, wearing with red flags, looking like Moroccans? So that next 100 years, they chopped down and don't mention it. And Thomas Jefferson was already paying, and the leaders before him, tribute, like a rent, basically, to even be there.
Right.
The new Afrofuturist, he sees the future of these Afros not getting no rent money, not being in power, not being in control. And he wasn't playing. He actually did something. You know how much he spent to do that? $15 million. It's called the Louisiana Purchase.
Yep.
That's why he paid Napoleon. Napoleon, this is back to what we first said. Napoleon is the one who chopped King Louis' head. Or no, take that back, y'all. Don't quote me on that. Maybe he didn't chop
the French
it.
Government
But,
did it,
after the French government did it, Napoleon is when they brought the power next.
Or the French people or whatever.
No, the French Revolution. The people.
The
But I'm
French
saying
Revolution, exactly.
Napoleon is the one they brought into power next after that.
Right on.
So what I'm saying is the chopping of his head, even though he's light skinned, it was about us and our people and our lands and stopping that. You feel me? And this is who they brought to power for that. Thomas Jefferson being aware, they said, damn, you killed King. Y'all about to take down. What did he do after that? You know, he went and shot the nose off the Sphinx. That nigga Harry gave him that $15 million. Hell yeah, we with this shit. We chopping kings' throats off, shooting nose off the Sphinx shit. Oh, y'all ain't playing. I see the Afro future. It looks bleak. I see prisons. I see AIDS. I see Planned Parenthood. When Thomas Jefferson became president, the pirates increased the cost of the tribute, and Jefferson refused to pay it. Instead, he sent United States warships to the Mediterranean Sea, which eventually began bombarding the pirate bases. The pirates surrendered in 1805, in what became to be known as the First Barbary War. Feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So it was this war and him being subjected to paying tribute and all that made him say, I'm giving my 15 million to Napoleon, and we are doing the Louisiana Purchase, and we are finna take these niggas' land. We're not answering to nothing.
We gotta do something about this.
And we're not gonna let them know that they're with this Moorish stuff at all. We don't want them to have none of this. Right? So Lincoln's on there as well.
That's
now we don't gotta get too deep into that because that's kind of what we talked about the whole time.
Right.
With the Civil War and all that, and then reconstructing and really do that. But there's another face that I hear Jefferson and George Washington and Lincoln get mentioned on the Mount Rushmore. It's a fourth face that I never get here mentioned.
That Teddy Roosevelt?
Yep.
I know.
Now, I'm gonna tell you what he plays into the role. He's right in the middle of what we're talking about, between the 17s between the 1800s and 1900s, and there's a major event there that went down that the Afrofuturists don't mention, the Pan-Africanists did not mention, the abolitionist. That's the name I was missing. So this really starts off with the abolitionists, right? Then you get your Pan-Africanists. Now you got your Afrofuturist. Abolitionism, Pan-Africanism. Now we got Afrofuturism.
Ism.
All of them were meant to define us. And the reason why you see spirituality erasing from them more and more each time is because they're all meant to fully erase Islam.
Okay.
Christianity can lead a black person back to Islam by mistake. So the further they go, the more they want to get you away from just the religion altogether.
Right.
Why? I don't even think it's because they're trying to hide the Islam from us. I think because they don't mess with that. They hate Islam. They hate Sharia law because it's a secret history they don't talk about. That's the law they were under when they first got here. They had Muslim slave masters. They were white slaves. Bing bong. That's the big secret, y'all. They hate black Muslim slave masters, whether they're male or female, because even the women that were their masters, because remember, the original Islam, they weren't sexist.
Right.
They had the women that were walking around that were rulers and all that.
Right.
That's why you have a Queen California, Califia. She's a Khalifa. She's not called Queen California. That's her name, Califia.
Califia.
She's actually the leader of the caliphate. She is the Khalifa.
She's a Khalifa, right.
They don't believe that a woman could be a Khalifa, so they don't mention it. This is what they're against. Our men and our women ruling over them. Our caliphate. When the brother Ibrahim Sori, I believe, Sori, who was in prison, he was enslaved for 40 years. And he come to find out he was a Fulani prince.
Okay.
He acted like he was a Moor in order to get his freedom. He acted like he was a Moor and wrote to the Moorish government and all that. And his slave master agreed to free him as long as he would never get to live the freedom, never get to experience the freedom of a free black man in America. That's what they were against, because that was their Muslim. No, think about it. But no, look, because I see you, because you like me. We have hearts.
Right.
Make the face say, what's the logic of this? But think about it. There was a wartime. See, we see ourselves as soft. We do. So we don't see our grandfather as going in there and raping and killing his family.
Right.
Taking his white wife and saying, hit this hoe all in front of you. What you gonna do? I'll pimp this hoe tomorrow. What you gonna do? We don't want to think of that.
Right.
So when we realized we had dominant war leaders on our half too, you see where their jealousy, anger, and vendettas come from.
Right.
Maybe we hung their heads up. Do you know the one they called Dracula was a real person?
Yes.
But guess what? We chopped his fucking head off. They don't talk about that.
Yeah, because he was fighting.
We chopped his head off. They're going to say he was a pale-faced Arab, did it, that. Moors did it. Pale or not.
Yeah, they said he was defending Christianity, allegedly. Tepish Dracula, that he was.
He killed 20,000 people in one day and drunk their blood. What does that have to do with Christianity?
Oh man, that's sick. Yeah,
that's Satanism
right there. That's some satanic stuff. Yeah, we talked about that before.
But this is their ancestry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think King Charles or Prince Charles.
As a matter of fact, Dracula is one of the most promoted characters in North America. I learned about him through the television here.
Yeah, I'm a fan of not Vlad Tepes, but the movies and stuff.
Yeah. So This is what they push, and they purposely want you to secretly like him. They don't want you to know these foul things about him. They want you to fall in love with Dracula and find that out later and be like, oh, it's no big deal.
Like, oh, it's a romanticized version.
Yeah,
it's very romantic. If you look at the movies and stuff, you'd be like, oh, he's just looking for his wife, you know. Oh, you know.
This is so Vlad the Impaler, the real Dracula. That's the secret they're selling to you in the Dracula movie, right?
Yeah.
That's the secret they're selling to you in this goddamn Afrofuturism stuff. It's the capitalists who own the technology companies. It's the LGBTQ bullshit that's put in there in the binary cyborg robot. We see right through it.
Right.
So check this out. We know about Lincoln trying to send us out the country and passing these laws and these amendments that ended up making prison. We can go on and on about how Lincoln affect us and how he wasn't down with us and this, that, and the other. We see that. We can even put into a Moorish concept and say, oh, by him doing that, they made us officially Negroes. Now we have the Census Bureau. Now we mark ourselves down as black.
Right.
He didn't help us. He made the ones of us that wasn't free act like we the ones that was locked in with them now. Okay. We could say George Washington set this all up. He wish we did it. We can say Thomas Jefferson refused to pay Yusuf Karamanli. And for those that don't know, when it says the Tripolitans in Tripolia, this is who Jefferson refused to pay. Y'all see him? Let me show him the use system.
Okay.
They're like some Prophet WLE type shit.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
So was them niggas dressing like that to feel good? No. We're talking about Turkish government. They were dealing with law. They wasn't even dealing with religion. Do you understand? This was before the civil rights era. They weren't allowed to vote. So the only way you could even contest for your rights was through religion. I'm a Moorish scientist under the Whoop Temple. I have the right. You know what I'm saying? You can get your identity changed and get the right to do what that they couldn't do back then. Vote, stupid niggas. Noble Drew Ali was getting niggas to vote back then. You niggas couldn't vote back then unless you say he was a Moorish scientist.
That's funny. That goes
Stupid
back to
motherfuckers.
No, it goes back to something my grandmother said when she was riding in the back of the bus. I'm not my grandmother, my great aunt actually was riding on the bus at New Orleans, and she saw this black dude. And she sat next to him. He was wearing a fez, and she sat right next to him. He was saying, "I'm not colored. I'm not colored." Like, because he was sitting toward the front, where the white people were supposed to be sitting. And she said, "Well, you know, he was black." And she's like, "Well, what is he talking about?" He said he's not colored, and she didn't get it. But that kind of just clicked in my head, and I just thought about that. If you have the your identity goes with your religion as opposed to your race, then, you know, like what she said, Noble Drew Ali was getting people to vote. Okay.
See, a lot of dudes are so hung up on feeling good and pseudoscience and were we the Indian, were we the flying carpet, were we the genie? Shit that don't matter.
Right.
Right. Is that you only what you are legally. All that other shit don't matter. You could be a Mexican and be 20 different religions. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
You're Mexican. The fact that you're Mexican was going to define you in a national sense.
Right.
You're standing amongst other nations. When you move around, how you get treated.
Right.
Your reality. Defining your reality, which is what we're talking about.
Which we're talking about.
You're
right
trying
now.
to pre-write instead of rewrite. I stand on that. That's why I keep saying
No,
it.
you said that pre-write.
Right? I think that's the key word we're gonna take.
I
from
think
this.
it is a key word, pre-writing.
So this is the brother that why we in the position we in, y'all. So let me make the video big. Thomas Jefferson. Matter of fact, let me give y'all some music, y'all. Let's get into this Afrofuturism. Let me take y'all into the future by understanding the past. Afrofuturism. It ain't playing yet. I want to take y'all in the future. Y'all ready? Ooh, that's the future, y'all. How can you be in the future if you're not even you now? Who are you now before you are you then? You're the panther, huh? You're the slave, huh? What if I told you that crazy shit you be hearing is true? And the bullshit you've been hearing over and over is the bullshit. What if I told you it wasn't 6,000 years ago in Egypt? It wasn't 50 years ago in Jamaica with Haile Selassie? What if it was right motherfucking now? What if you didn't even understand that the name you have now means something that you don't even know what it means? You don't know how to define your reality now to define it for the future. There is no Afro future because there's not even an Afro now, nigga. Me, Crumb, and them are working to give you an Afro now. We are the Afrofuturists. We're trying to define the future for you motherfuckers now by deterring you from the bullshit they got for you now, because we see it already. And your Afrofuture doesn't even include this man. He's already erased out your Afro. I'm about to show y'all somebody who's already been erased. Who yesterday, he was famous. We probably would see this dude walking down the street and say, "The king is here!" And then for y'all to say, "I wouldn't have, I was born 70. Okay, the DNA in your skin then, does that make you happy? The people that came together and had sex to make you, they would have saw this man and bowed down to his feet. Not because they're idol worshipers, not because they look at him in a religious way. He probably don't even know religion like that. This is their real leaders. Yeah, we come from a real place with real people. With the dude who fought the best was famous and popular. With the dude who conquered the, you get what I'm saying? It's real things. The dude who was the most wealthy doesn't necessarily mean he had the good personality. This might be a foul dude.
Yep.
It was real life scenarios. This was our leader geographically and legally. Now, there were other Moorish leaders there, but that's not, we're not here to talk about everything and you leave exhausted. I learned all type of stuff. Yusuf Karamanli.
I've never even heard of it. That's messed up.
Right?
That's messed up. That's messed up. That's a piece of history that's like missing.
Not a piece of history, the piece of history.
Piece of history. That's
if you want to know why we, if you don't, this is what I'm trying to say. When you tell a brother that they had to pay us to be here, we was running this, we was the leaders. First thing they say is, "Oh, that's cool. That's probably in a book or something." I've been on TV shows. They got me. I've been on interviews where in the middle of my own interview, they're telling me it's probably in a book or something, nigga. I was like, bro, I can give you some names. They don't even Google this shit.
Right.
Because the name is too good, it's Yusuf Utibu. I ain't gonna look at that. That sounds Muslim. It might be real. See, Islam is the escape from the bullshit. Because what every nigga know, even a nigga ain't never read a book, he know that the black man that was Muslim, even the most unarticulate black dude knows that when he sees a black dude that's Muslim, it represents some type of power.
Yeah.
He's not surprised when he finds out Mansa Musa, the wealthiest man that ever lived, was a black Muslim. He's not surprised when he finds out that Sanjata was a black Muslim. He's not surprised now all of a sudden. Oh, kind of makes sense a little bit. The Muslims do be turned up. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So this man that Jefferson, let me calm down. Thomas Jefferson, when the Afrofuture was dead already, they were paying us rent. Now let's tell the real truth. There was no racial concept like it is now. So they were giving them slaves too. So I ain't here to plank them as just good guys.
Right.
There were dark-skinned people who they considered peasants and Kafir non-believers who they gave to them. Who they heard about them doing shit to, who they allowed.
Right.
So we had to go through this too, so we could get away from that shit. We had to go through this. We were selling ourselves as well.
Right, yeah.
Because we did not understand this. How to love instead of hate, for real. You feel what I'm saying? And because this brother refused to show Jefferson any love and said, "Nigga, I need some more money." Yeah, white boy.
Right.
This is what really happened. This is we are experiencing a 400-year karma ass whooping. He said, "White boy, not only you got to pay right now." Guess what he charged him? You ready for this? The night of his inauguration. It's like a motherfucker call you on the night of your wedding and say, "Yeah, I'm gonna hit your wife tomorrow, please."
That's the initiation. I gotta do this.
You feel me?
Right.
The inauguration came and he want more money. You feel what I'm saying? He want more money.
Right.
He wants some extra hundreds of bands. And we over here whooping your homies, dropping their boats down and all that. We having a good old time. Yusuf Ibn Ali, but they took that out because I just went straight to his last name.
Right.
Remember, I'm not gonna say Muslim names. There are names.
Yeah.
They went long. I can prove it to you. Spanish names. Where do Spanish people come from? Spain, right?
Yeah.
In the 1400s, 1500s with the conquistadors, right? Isn't that Moor time?
Yep.
So those conquistadors were Moors. Moriscos, Moreno.
Yeah, Moriscos.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Spanish Moors. Okay. So whoever came over here on the other way that were coming from the Western Europe along that coast that were dark Moors, right? In the 1933 House Resolution number 75 signed into to law in 1933, It says it's 3 last names they will recognize in this, well, 4 in this country as descendants of the Moorish Americans who it says brought the architecture from Egypt, from North Africa through Spain to North America and landed in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, huh? Yeah.
Bay, El, Ali, and Day.
Interesting. Interesting.
You notice after that, the brothers separate from that. I come to the conclusion that brothers separate from that because they signed a deal with the Americans. They became Moorish American. They didn't want to. So some brothers like, I don't know. I'm in the spirit of. I'm coming in the spirit of my ancestors. See, me as a Gullah Geechee now my grandpa gave me that. I'm not with none of these groups, none of these black conscious groups. I'm coming with because you know what was going on then? They was against the conscious niggas. The conscious niggas then was W.B. Du Bois and all of them.
Yeah, right.
And the Gullah and the Geechees was going, man, nigga, I don't care about none of that. I never heard of that. Nigga, I'm eating some fried chicken. Shut the fuck up. And I asked my grandpa, why was this so? Shh. He said, because they was killers. He said, the police would come to your house and get you if they heard you even talk like that. That's why it was a big thing in the music to talk like somebody from New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's the most gutter sounding. Don't the word gutter sound like Gullah?
Yeah.
Feel me? Yusuf ibn Ali Karamanli, al-Karamanli, most commonly Yusuf Karamanli, ruled from 1766 to 1838. The most important time we're talking about. That's the American Revolution. That's the Barbary Wars.
Yeah.
That's the founding father George Clinton, George Washington, Benjamin. These are the people they say didn't exist. This is Benjamin Banneker. This is all the hot shit.
Right.
Happened in his one lifetime. A North African ruler of Tripoli dressed like Noble Drew Ali with a real sword that you just saw with your own eyes.
Yes.
It's the truth right here. This nigga like the Messiah or some shit. The Afrofuturists need to know this or they ain't gonna know nothing. He was the longest reigning pasha. We don't even know what a pasha is. We're looking for a king.
Right.
We don't have kings.
Right.
We have caliphs, pashas, mansas. See the problem with Afrofuturism? It's even defined in their terms. You can't understand yourself in someone else's language.
That's a very good point. How we're
Your understanding comes from your language. It's how you speak. It's your tongue. The longest reigning pasha of the Karamanli dynasty of Tripolitania. We never even heard of that. Because you know what Tripolitania is today? Libya.
I was gonna say, yeah, somewhere in North Africa, Libya, yeah.
No, you know why it's important is Libya? Not just somewhere in North Africa? Who was the thank you?
I whispered
Say it out loud.
Gaddafi, Muammar Gaddafi. I'm sorry, I whispered it at first.
That's the only motherfucker in North Africa trying to give us some money. While we worry about whether he light skinned or not.
Yeah, he was down for us for sure. That I know for sure.
Because he saw himself as another coming of Yusuf Karamanli. Wow. What I'm showing you tonight, sister, I kind of damn near put together as we was going.
Right.
The abolitionists, erased the fact we were Moroccan.
Wow.
They never mentioned appealing to the Moroccan government, the Moroccan people, the North African. They don't deal with that. There's no help for you all. Where should we send you? Haiti? Africa? We don't know.
Right. Right. Definitely.
The Pan-Africanists, he erased dark skin. In our mind, no, he erased black people outside of the framework of Africa.
Right.
If you're not wide-nosed, big-lipped, woolly-haired, you're not black.
Then you're not one of us. Yeah.
You're something else. Even if you're one of us, even if you look like us, talk like us, you're from Madagascar. They're different kind of.
That they always talk about. They do kind of.
Australia, different kind of.
Southern India.
These niggas are so bad. When you prove to them it goes bigger than Africa, you start showing the Middle East. You know what they say? That was Africa too. You motherfuckers is lying your ass. Nigga, no Middle East is Africa. The people who saw the Middle East and Africa as one did not call it Africa. Just like the people who saw this man as a ruler did not call him a king. Right. They used the word king. They used the pasha.
Yeah, different terminology.
Well, you know what the problem with the word pasha and sultan? they allude to what? Islam.
Right, definitely. Yeah, because Sultan, the first thing that comes to my head is Islamic. Something Islamic.
Because Islam is not the black man's religion, it's his culture. The religion of Islam was stolen from the black man's culture. Our culture is bigger than this thing they call Islam.
See, now let me just say something about that. I mentioned to someone about Moorish science and Nation of Islam, and they were of Islamic background, and they were North African, and they were like, how can they call themselves the Nation of Islam? You know, and how can they call themselves the Temple of Moorish Science? And that person said, you know, I'm from this place, and I'm from
I've been to Morocco.
I'm from that place, and you know, how can they call themselves? And I told her, I said, well, this is something that was, you know, this is for us as Black people in America, and that was the definition I gave.
No, let's stop.
But go ahead.
Not to cut you from your definition.
No. I want you to elaborate. No, I
but
want you to elaborate. That's why I put it out there.
For us not to lose the note of what we just didn't I just show you that the leader of the so-called Black people in North America was Yusuf Ibn Karamanali.
Right.
We were separated from that in the Barbary Wars.
Right.
That nigga ain't get no time machine and go back and learn that. He don't know that neither. The North Africans don't know this neither.
Exactly. That's erased from them too.
In what? In the World War I. It's the same people that planned it for us, planned it for them.
Yeah.
We have 21 new comments, so let's shift through some of these.
Okay, go
Brother Sun Ra. Is this the Sun Ra? This can't be. I know you ain't the Afrofuturist.
You've been dead for long.
Do we got the nigga in this here?
He's back.
Sun Ra, you back?
He's back. Sun Ra is back.
He said Thomas Jefferson is known for his Quran. Oh, yeah, that's cool. I invented Afrofuturism. No, this is a nigga acting like he's Afro. I think he believes he's Sun Ra. Can you send me? Can you? I actually want to bring you on the screen. We can send you a link and bring you on, brother. We're gonna do a 777 if y'all want this Sun Ra nigga on the show.
Oh God.
We would do an episode with you. He said Black people need to think bigger than just Earth and Africa. Pyramids found on Mars, we've been to about that. Pyramids and African temples found on other planets. Just by the fact that you call them African temples, I could tell you ain't up on game. Nah, let's bring this nigga on the show and teach this nigga. Let's un-Afrofuturize this nigga. And then we're going to initiate him into the real Afrofuturism that we got going here. We ain't letting the word go. We taking the name back.
Yeah, we just redefining it and restructuring it.
Brother, you the only one put 777 up. We need the group. We're going to get a group 30 seconds because we got 116 people in here. Do y'all want him? And then we're going to get back to this topic we talking about with Yusuf Karamanali. Do y'all want this brother to come on here and give us his version? Because I'm... It's a mixed opinion on you, brother. I don't know. But what the sister pointed out and what I want everybody to point out is I don't pray 5 times a day. I don't even really dress like this. I do this more in interviews. I super put it on thick with the Islam to show y'all it's bigger than religion. You're not going to look at no sultan. You're not going to look at no pastor. You're not going to look at North Africa. You're not going to look at any of these things that show you what's really going on because you're so scared to look at Islam. You're going to lie about the more signs than that because you're so scared to be involved in anything with Islam. You feel what I'm saying? So we about to be. So yeah, y'all, I mean, we can go on and on because the future doesn't end, it doesn't begin. The past don't end to begin. But I think this brother alone, Yusuf Karamanali, is the future and the past of the Afro. Because without him, it's a gap missing there. And the reason why I like talking about him more than any prophet or religious leader or Black leader is it's a political position. Right. It's a statesman position.
Right.
It's a real thing that cannot be erased out of history.
Right.
And he tried so hard. He calls it Tripoli, then he calls it Libya, then he calls it Tripolitania, then he calls it da-da-da. Then he says the Moorish leader, he talks about the Moorish leader, he only talks about the Sultan, he doesn't ever talk about the Pasha. You feel what I'm saying? He tried so hard to erase this guy. And this is the dude, because this is why I say that. Because if we're going to go to the next subject, and you said it's funny, this person in North Africa tells me this. And I pointed at him to show you that, because he doesn't deal with him.
Right.
If the person you're talking about thought of, because think about it, he's even 2 years, 100 years. He's not sitting there in North Africa talking about Yusuf. He's 4 countries over.
Right.
He probably doesn't even live in Libya. You get what I'm saying?
No, yeah,
so,
exactly.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, this existed a long time ago in a whole different fashion. We don't even see Africa as having a united front anymore.
Not at all.
We're not that sophisticated, that organized.
The envisioning of that and the future of that unity in my head, in my opinion, and this is just me, I'm not trying to make anyone upset, but I think with Muammar Gaddafi, because his name came up, I think that kind of died with him in Africa, because he was one of the, for North Africa, because a lot of times, I'm not going to say anything negative about people from North Africa that love my North African brothers and sisters, the ones who identify with us. I think Gaddafi had a futuristic plan for Africa in my head. He had a future plan for Africa, and it died with him in my head. So I don't know if you want to even comment on that or say anything.
No, I think you even saying that kind of comes full circle to what I was trying to purvey as far as my opinion on it.
Right.
Afrofuturism to me is like we started this conversation about 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
An attempt by them to rewrite our history. You know what I mean? Pre-write our history. The abolitionists rewrote it. The abolitionists separated us from ourselves. There wasn't even no history involved there.
Right.
That was dealing with the slavery thing. The Pan-Africanists rewrote it. You feel what I'm saying? The Afrocentrists put a stamp on the Pan-Africanists.
Mm-hmm.
The Afrofuturists is like, all that's locked in now. Good. Let's make sure they don't get nothing else. Let's separate. Let's erase money. Because, for example, in Afrofuturism, it looks very digitally.
Yes.
I don't see too much concept of currency.
No.
People putting in work and getting exchange for it. Hardworking, callous on hands. I don't see that in Afrofuturism.
No, you're not gonna have no cow.
Right? And Afrofuturism looks very slave masterish. It's like somebody's hidden somewhere doing all the work. Everybody's always in these clean, empty rooms.
Yeah.
And everything's done for them already.
All we're doing is just flying around.
We just float around.
Yeah.
Who's serving the Afrofuturists?
Who's working?
Who's working?
Where's the food coming from? All those questions.
Sounds kind of like the cryptocurrency future.
Yes.
Back in the 90s, Michael Jackson and Janet Jackson Scream video.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, they were dressed in these outfits and they were on some kind of, were they on a ship or something?
By themselves, but they lived there for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, well, who's gonna be doing the work? Who's gonna be playing? I mean, where's the food coming from?
Does it matter? You know why?
We might not need food because we're gonna be cyborgs.
Pandemic. We got, whether you believe it or not, we got a bar of what it would be like in the pandemic.
Yeah.
They had a limited amount of cooks. They knew how to make the food just good enough. They even talked about introducing to us a concept of cube food. Did you hear about that? They talked about introducing us a military cube food for a second.
You know what? That's funny because I just think make me thinks back to like the 1950s and all those sci-fi movies, and a food was a pill and like a cube and all those things. They've been, kind of like taking us on this preparation journey, like you said.
Exactly. Through our movies, because
they started that science fiction stuff.
They're pre-writing us.
They're pre-writing us, and to get us on board, we didn't have black sci-fi per se. I mean, there might have been some books out there.
Because there's no such thing as black sci-fi.
Yeah, okay.
It's fi fiction. It's sci-fi, science fiction. Science fiction, like everything else they created, didn't have us in it.
It didn't have us in it, and
so
that's the thing.
So when we put ourselves in it, like Afrofuturists.
That's what Afrofuturism. That's what some people define Afrofuturism as: putting black people in places that we weren't before in sci-fi and science fiction. But the thing is, okay, when you look back, like you said, they've been prepping us for this, and now they got black people involved in it. So we're like, okay, we're going toward the future, and it looks good. But like you said, where's everything else at? We're floating around out there in outer space somewhere, or it might even be on Earth, but we're floating around somewhere out there. But where's everything coming from? Where's the work? Where's the food coming from? Where's all this? Are we on pills? We're already on pills now. They got us on pills already. So
no, but look what you just said.
They got us on the
pills.
So
30, 40 years ago, they were saying you're going to be on pills. It's food soon, and we're on it now.
We're on pills. Yeah, they got us on pills. You know, and they came up with that. You know, I'm not trying to veer off. I don't want to veer off too much, but I've worked with kids most of my life, and I noticed they had the kids on pills, on that ADD medication and ADHD medication, and then the parents were taking the pills, Prozac and Ritalin and all that stuff, and they put kids on that. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I didn't know too many children of color, I'll just say, on those pills at one time. It was mostly the rich Caucasian children that were on those pills. And then all of a sudden I started seeing black kids and Latino kids and all these other kids on pills. And now they're adults. Those kids are adults now, and they're on pills, and they're all in the streets.
Yes.
And they're all on those pills.
They pre-wrote
that. You said they were pre-writing our future for us. And it's continually being pre-written for us to the point where we're going to accept this stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to go back to 666 and the mark of the beast and all that other stuff. I don't know if that even comes into play or not.
It does. You know why?
But I mean,
I'm gonna tell you something. You're older than me. When I was growing up, that was scary. 666. Oh,
yeah.
I see them tattoos all over the place now.
Yeah.
So did it not come true?
It came true, and I never saw a black person. Now I went to school in some white areas and Caucasian areas for a little while, and I grew up out there for a little while when I left South LA for a time period. And 666 was something that the Caucasian youth did.
Hold on. 777. We're not doing 666. 777. But I want y'all to know something. Why Crumb used to do that. Crumb was all about the Afrofuturism, not Afrofuturism, the shit they pushing, us defining our reality. Crumb used to say to put that because a lot of people were spookified by the number 666. He was saying, ain't nobody gonna hop out the fucking window and cut you up. You feel what I'm saying? So I'm saying out here with the 777. If y'all see that Blue Panther poster back there, because I know some of y'all just tuned in. I see we had damn near 150. So some of y'all just came in, you know.
But yeah, I never thought I would hear. Like I never thought I'd see a black person with a certain tattoos on them that, like you said, like so that from other people used to put on, and then now I see that and I'm like, damn. I'm like, this shit came true. All of this came true.
I'll end it with this. A brother put here that ancient Egypt was futuristic. So we have to ask ourselves, did they focus on that so much because they were trying to pre-write what was next? If you look at what was there and you see how much we have not progressed, maybe that was about pre-writing a not sub, but a deteriorated version.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And we can call it a deteriorated version. It's just their version.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So them putting their face on the Grand Canyon and making this their nation is their version. You understand what I'm saying? So when we saw what we saw in Egypt, what we created, right? If that's in our subconscious and someone starts to awaken us to that, they can't erase that out of us. So their best bet is to redefine it. Put some nigga in there with an Egyptian outfit and make them say all this weird stuff so they'll identify that as connected with that.
Right.
That's what they did with Jesus. A lot of brothers are wrong with the Jesus, fuck out of it. Jesus. Listen. They didn't make, I'm not saying I'm for Jesus. I'm saying they didn't make up Jesus. They're not that hot. Them niggas ain't never made a Tupac album. They killed them off like they did Tupac and redefined them like they did Tupac.
Yes, they definitely keep. They keep redefining Tupac. They keep on redefining. They got a new Tupac movie that's going to be coming out. So it's going to be a whole new definition of Tupac.
But in none of them movies did they ever talk about the fact that his last name is the real name of the Cherokee tribe and Shakur and all that stuff. They don't even know that nigga. They don't even know what his name means. And none of the movies they know about that. They talk about the Tupac Amaru is the leader of South America.
Yep.
And then
They don't even say that. I don't know if they even mentioned that in that first Tupac movie. Did they even mention that when he picked his name?
he didn't pick his mama put
His mom picked his name, right? Well, there was some.
But guess what? His mama didn't pick that name. I could prove it. Did you know him and his mother were both had regular names.
Right, yeah.
Matulu gave him that name.
Okay.
Matulu Shakur, he just got out.
Right.
He gave him that science.
Okay.
You feel me?
Right.
Now, what his name represents does not fit into what the mainstream media wants us to know about ourselves.
Right.
So his name never gets talked about.
See, that's what I'm talking about. So
But it gets talked about with all the other stuff. So that way you would define, as soon as you hear the word Tupac, thug, gangster,
thug life.
You don't think of the leader of South America. That was a thug for another reason. He was a strong, manly man.
Another kind of thug
that was
life.
A warrior.
Yeah. That's a whole different thug life, exactly, from what they tried to promote thug life to us.
See?
They got us twisted. They got us all twisted, all backwards. Man.
That part. So I hope y'all understand that we are not against it. We're 100% for it. Because like that poster there, we're here to get a grip on it. We're here to define it. You know what I mean? So next time y'all want to put out a Black Panther, tell them come holler at me, the Blue Panther.
Hey, I told him take all my jewelry, clothes and guns and let me fast for 40 days by my lonely. We the 5% of the 5%, we the only ones. Lord Jamar told Vlad to his face that we the chosen ones. I shouted out Farrakhan right there on No Jumper cuz owe me one. I'm Joseph's son, I'm Mansa Musa. I'm the one that set it up, the driver and the shooter. Crip Jesus make the trap say hallelujah. Rest in peace Raymond Washington, free Larry Hoover. It's all hood politics, acknowledge it. These niggas ain't graduate from no colleges, play ball for no scholarships, read books by Malcolm X. I gotta reach him and teach us what the teachers didn't teach him. The lost tribe of Jesus. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We the lost tribe of Jesus. Israel Muslim. Bismillah, Iraq, Rahim. I'm him. Let's go.